Enjoy your time here and find peace in the stories we tell. If you liked the story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to support the channel. Fiona, the beauty mark at the corner of your eye. It is truly beautiful. Harrison Xiao gently lifted my veil, borrowing the dim light through the window. His fingertips tenderly touched the tear mole by my eye. I curled my lips, looking at him with a smile. Husband, is this mole the only thing in your eyes worth praising? He did not reply, only saying in a deep voice. Helena Xiao also has a mole in that spot, making anyone who looks at it feel a sense of liveliness, incredibly adorable. I nodded slightly and said, wait a moment. Saying that, I turned around, took the brush and ink from the desk and spread the paper in front of him. Write it. He looked up at me, slightly surprised. Write what? I reached up to adjust the gold butterfly hairpin on my hair. The sound of jade clinking echoed softly in the quiet night as I slowly spoke. A bill of divorce. Harrison Xiao laughed, his voice coaxing. Fiona, if a husband and wife want to divorce, one must rely on the 7 grounds for divorce to write the letter. You have not committed any of them, so what excuse do I have to write it? I tilted my head, resting my chin on my hand, my voice lazy like a passing breeze, my fingers twirling the lid of the teacup. So what exactly are those 7 grounds? He slowly replied. Unfilial to parents, failure to bear a son, lewdness or jealousy, wicked heart, excessive talking, and stealing. I immediately nodded, stood up with my back straight, looked him in the eye, and uttered, screw your family. My foot launched a kick that sent him tumbling backward onto the bed, rolling straight into the pile of red mandarin duck embroidered blankets behind him. You Fiona, you. He clutched his chest, looking at me in horror, his face turning pale. I calmly held the brush and wrote neatly on the paper. The house has a fierce bride, unfilial to parents, disobedient to the husband, disrespectful to his siblings. Just press your fingerprint here, I said, otherwise I guarantee I will turn your Xiao family upside down. Today I kick you, tomorrow I will beat your father, scold your mother, destroy your family reputation and make your fortune vanish. Harrison, you had better obediently accept it. He looked at me, his voice dropping, full of bitterness. Fiona, why have you become like this? Was it not because you liked me that I agreed to marry you? Ha ha ha, Harrison, to think you could say such a sentence. It is truly a joke that shakes the world. I clapped my hands and calmly sat on the Grandmaster chair, looking down to peel a grape and pop it into my mouth, my voice soft but clear. Who am I? I am the current Grand Tutor, rank 1. Even His Majesty must respectfully call me master when he meets me. And what are you? Just a newly passed scholar. How many ranks can you be granted? I lowered myself to marry you, yet you still dare to say I liked you. Hearing me speak, Harrison's face turned red then white, and after a long while, he whispered. You and I are both literati, how can we use titles to oppress each other? Literati my foot. I curled my lips in sarcasm. Clearly just a romantic fraud, pretending to be elegant, truly lacking in decorum. I laughed scornfully, then calmly continued. Let me tell you the truth. Initially I chose you because you looked like a loyal man. I thought marrying you would save me from jealousy and trouble, so I reluctantly nodded. If I had known earlier that you were a beast, secretly pining for your own biological sister, even if the emperor forced the marriage, I would have dared to defy the imperial decree. Fiona, you, he choked. Where did I speak wrong? I heard your sister looks 70% like me. Even this tear mole is identical. At first I did not believe it, but seeing it with my own eyes, it is truly similar. Why say Helena Xiao looks like you? Clearly you are the one who looks like Helena. He hurriedly blushed and argued. No matter how you say it, the divorce letter is already here. Hurry up and fingerprint it. I will pack up and return to my manor immediately. From now on, water flows and flowers fall, we go our separate ways. I flipped the paper lightly and shouted. Quick, if you are a man, be decisive in your actions. When I walked out the door, he still called after me. Fiona, I turned my head and replied, calling me that, I want to use my rank to oppress you again. It is best to call me Lady Yu to be proper. The day I came to be a bride, it was a large sedan chair carried by 8 people, with servants following in droves. When I left, I only took a divorce letter and some light luggage, leaving the Xiao manor alone. That Grand Tutor famous in the court wrote a divorce letter with her own hand on her wedding night. From that day on, I became the biggest joke in the state of Lu. My friends in official circles only dared to laugh secretly behind their fans. Only Grand Preceptor Julian Zhou laughed the loudest. I heard that the night I was divorced, the servants in his manor closed the doors and laughed until midnight, unable to sleep. I and that Joe fellow never saw eye to eye. A bachelor like him has no right to laugh at me. The next morning at court, the emperor held me back, his face looking worried. Master, it was so hard for us to marry you off. Now that this has happened, what should we do? I replied. Your Majesty, Li Bai once said the immortal rides the yellow crane away. The wanderer does not bother to hold back. Only after tasting it once does one know that freedom is the true delicacy. Once touched, it is hard to accept being bound again. The teenage emperor waved his hand and sighed softly. Master, if you have anything else to say, just say it. After bidding farewell to the emperor, I wanted to return to my manor by sedan chair. Unexpectedly, just as I left the palace gate, I bumped right into Julian Zhou's sedan chair. Do not yield. I sat in the sedan chair and spoke calmly. Laughter rang out from the opposite sedan chair. I will not yield either. The road in the palace was wide, just a slight move would avoid it. Yet both he and I were determined not to yield half a step. The bearers on both sides were sweating profusely from exhaustion. Finally, both of us had to get out of our sedan chairs. In the sweltering heat of July, the birds in the palace were too lazy to sing. The servants were wilted by the sun as if about to faint, yet and I still stood there leisurely as if enjoying the cool autumn breeze. Grand Guardian Thomas Song did not ride a horse. Every day after court, his wife came to pick him up. The couple was harmonious and deeply in love, making outsiders envious. When their sedan chair passed by, Grand Guardian Thomas Song's wife asked softly, "Husband, what are those two doing?" Thomas Song was a calm person. He only shook his head slightly and replied with one word, bored. The Grand Tutor, Grand Preceptor, and Grand Guardian are the three top officials of the court. Yet the Grand Tutor and Grand Preceptor clashed with their tongues every day, causing the little emperor to only sigh helplessly when he looked at them. Nearing noon, the weather became even more sweltering, the sun burning like fire. The servants could not take it anymore, so he and I let them retreat to a shady corner to rest, fanning themselves and chatting happily. Master and servant no longer had a clear distinction. Growl, my stomach rumbled. But ask me to admit defeat? Absolutely not. I was still trying to endure the hunger. From the other side came the sound of the curtain being lifted, and his voice drifted over. Little fish, are you not hungry? I snorted softly. Lord Joe calling me so intimately is truly against etiquette. Tomorrow this official will certainly present a memorial to impeach you. I only heard footsteps approaching, and soon the curtain of my sedan chair was lifted. Lady Yu, are you really not hungry? Let us go to the Jade Pavilion to eat something. The Jade Pavilion has singers, dancers, good wine, and precious dishes, its elegance no less than the Qinhuai River. Julian never liked frequenting such romantic places, but it suited me very well. Sitting in the private room, I did not bother to look at the waiter with delicate features, only ordering 2 vegetarian dishes myself. The waiter had met many noble people. Although he still kept a smile, his eyes could not help but glance at Julian, implying, Lady Yu is truly too stingy. Julian took a sip of tea and spoke leisurely. Lady Yu, the king of Chu, preferred slim waists. Do you also want to keep a slender figure? Clearly criticizing me for eating simply. I snorted coldly. Lord Zhou does not need to be sarcastic. This month, this official just got married and wanted to show off, so I spent all my salary buying betrothal gifts for myself. Now I have to be frugal to get through the days. He did not expect me to bring up the matter of being divorced on my wedding night myself. He lowered his head and laughed, his voice carrying a teasing tone. Truly wearing worn clothes but with no regret in your heart. Fine then, the day Lady Yu got married, I did not come to congratulate you. Consider this a banquet to apologize. Making up for the rudeness he was offering to buy drinks, I immediately changed my tone. Lord Zhou, why did you not say so earlier? No matter how he teased, I did not take it to heart. What I do, I bear the consequences myself. I immediately ordered a portion of Westlake vinegar fish, crystal pork trotters sliced very thin to be easy to eat, adding a dish of Buddha's hand almonds, remember not to leave any bitter seeds, and finally a portion of small crispy pastry. That is enough. The waiter heard this and asked carefully, Lady Yu, can the two of you finish all of that? I smiled and waved him over to whisper. Today this official is in a good mood. I will pass on to you a piece of wisdom that even the emperor has not heard. The waiter immediately bowed low, respectfully asking Lady Yu for guidance. I cupped my hand over my lips and whispered, anyone who does not take advantage when there is a benefit is a fool. The waiter was speechless, only nodding repeatedly, repeating the dishes and retreating. At this moment Julian looked at me and asked, Lady Yu, is that enough? It is enough. Lord Zhou is truly generous today. Lady Yu is too polite. Before long, the waiter brought another pot of tea and filled the table with food. I picked up a piece of translucent pork trotter, half lean half fat, chewed carefully. Then dropped one word. Grazy, the waiter quickly said. Master, do you need a palate cleanser? I shook my head and did not answer. Julian immediately ordered. Bring a jar of good wine. Just what I wanted. I hummed in agreement. He picked up a slice of fish, removed all the bones before eating, and laughed. A table full of fish and meat like that, who wouldn't get sick of it? I grinned. I entered the court to be an official simply because I wanted to eat well and drink well. And for what reason did Lord Zhou enter the official circle? He tilted his head and drank the wine, slowly replied, for 3 wives and 4 concubines. I was never serious, yet he was even more playful than me. We clinked glasses. Just as I picked up a piece of fish, it got stuck in my throat. I had to cover my mouth with a handkerchief, frowning and bowing my head in silence. Fishbone, he asked. I nodded slightly, using my tongue to skillfully push for a while before spitting out the thin bone. He looked at me for a moment then sighed softly. Luckily your surname is Yu, I laughed. Is that not so? Fish eat fish, what is the rush? After 3 rounds of wine he suddenly asked, how much dowry did you bring to the Xiao family? I waved my hand. Forget it, do not mention that. Not counting jewelry, gold and silver, besides the emperor's rewards, there was a Haitian jade Pixio statue, a string of turquoise and agate beads, and an agar wood zither. He squinted. It seems you really invested capital. Not only invested, I have to demand it back too, he laughed. Lady Yu truly dares to think and dares to act. I also laughed. And Lord Zhou, you believe whatever sentence I say. Downstairs, the singer was still singing, her voice lingering. I drank until I was numb. Could no longer hear clearly what tune it was. Oh my, this official has big eyes but a small stomach. My alcohol tolerance is incredibly poor. Lady Yu, you should be the type who does not get drunk after 1,000 cups. Lord Zhou, I know I cannot drink anymore, so I leaned my head back and sighed. Is this not so you can have a chance to see me make a fool of myself? He huffed softly, asking back. Little fish, do you want to let me see you as a joke, or do you want me to take the opportunity to take advantage of you? Even though I was drunk, I still heard those words clearly. I tried to open my groggy eyes to glare at him. Lord Zhou, this official will definitely present a memorial to impeach you, he calmly replied. Impeach if you want. Lady Yu, just remember to pay me back half the wine money. I was dead drunk, left for the servants in the manor to carry back, while that guy named Zhou paid the bill and left, not bothering to wait for me to wake up. Speaking of Julian and me, it is truly a case of being both destined nobles and enemies on a narrow road. A female official is rare from ancient times to the present. I disguised myself as a man, took the provincial exam, then entered the capital for the exam, only 1 step away from the palace exam. But to pass that step, one had to pass the Grand Preceptor's evaluation first. That day sitting in the public hall, Julian looked arrogant. His phoenix eyes glanced at me indifferently, then he turned to the Grand Scholars. Gentlemen, are your eyes all blind? Lord Zhou, why do you say that? They are all pillars of the court, beams of the state, yet they are being led by the nose by a woman. He curled his lips in sarcasm. Skin as smooth as silk like that, no one sees it as a woman. Someone retorted. This person's brushwork is experienced, sometimes profound, sometimes bold. How can it be a woman? Lord Zhou is too suspicious. Julian snapped his fan shut with a click, calmly replying. Words that are upright and spirited, do only men possess them? Tender and graceful feelings, do only women carry them? Then he pointed straight at me. You say it yourself. I froze for a moment, then took off my headscarf, releasing my real voice. The Grand Preceptor truly has wisdom eyes. This commoner is indeed a woman. The white-bearded Grand Scholar was so panicked he clutched his chest, his beard standing on end. You are truly bold, deceiving even the Emperor. This crime is deceiving the sovereign. Julian remained calm, only asking me. Yu Panan is not your real name. Right. Reporting to my lord, it is not. Then what is your name? Fiona Yu. He glanced at the memorial on the desk, then looked at me and asked further. Why borrow the fake name Yu Pan? I smiled. Dare I ask my lord who is the top of the 4 great handsome men? He curled his lips and replied. Panan. Panan was already a handsome man, surely romantic and elegant, so I borrowed that name and changed it to Pan. He laughed softly, waving his fan as he leisurely stepped forward. Coming to stand in front of me, he used the tip of his fan to gently lift my chin. Why do you want to be an official? Not because I want to be an official? I replied. Just that I am bored of those outdated essays. He still smiled. If this official recommends you to enter the court, what do you say? I asked back. What is the benefit of entering the court? You get to eat well and dress beautifully. When attending the palace exam, he stood right next to the dragon throne. The late emperor was still surprised then. Why is it a young lady? He recommended me with all his words, saying my literature was outstanding, and the princesses needed someone to teach them. The late emperor was wise. Initially he only kept me as a leisurely female official. Leaving the palace, I asked Julian why he recognized I was a woman from the start. He lowered his eyes to glance at me, saying faintly, "With such a petite figure, if I still mistook it, I fear it would be because your face is too ugly." Having said that, he did not look up, but his gaze slowly swept down and stopped at my chest, his voice cold. It is not strange either. I was not angry, only smiling. Does Lord Joe have a wife yet? No. I followed his gaze, scanning from his face down, sweeping once, stopping at his waist, then shook my head and sighed. It is not strange either. Later he said he had never met a woman who refused to suffer a loss like me, and I had never met a man who did not know how to cherish flowers and jade like him. That night I slept like the dead, knowing nothing. In the morning I intended to send someone to report illness and ask for leave, but at the fourth watch, loud drums and trumpets sounded outside the door, as if someone was making a disturbance in front of the manor. I sat up groggily. Before I could open my eyes, hearing the drums and trumpets, I thought I was being carried off to be married again. Sitting for a moment more, I rubbed my aching forehead and called the maid. "Who is making noise out there? Chase them away." The maid stammered. "Master, it is Lord Joe coming to call you to court. How dare we servants chase him away?" Before she finished speaking, the sound of the trumpet changed. "Suana, good for that guy named Joe. This time it is not welcoming a bride but sending off a dead person. That Joe fellow has guts as big as the sky." I cursed a sentence and covered my head with the blanket, but that Suona sound was deafening. I could not feign deafness. I gritted my teeth to get my shoes. I jumped up, my bare feet groping under the bed. I was so drunk last night I forgot the sky and earth. Did not know where I kicked my shoes to. I stepped on empty air twice, then accidentally kicked a small wooden basin. It hurt so much I pulled my foot back as if pricked by needles. The maid was startled and said, "Master, last night I served you to wash your feet. I forgot to clean it up." I glanced at the basin then looked at her. "This is foot washing water." She nodded and whispered. I asked again, "So where are the shoes?" The servant went to find another pair. "Last night you came back without shoes. Heard that drinking makes one lose wealth and items." This is the first time I heard of someone drinking and losing even their shoes. After changing shoes, I did not bother combing my hair, grabbing the basin of water and rushing out the door. The people blowing trumpets and beating drums out there had red faces, surely having been greased by Lord Joe with quite a bit of silver. Julian leaned leisurely against the sedan chair, his clothes and hat neat, his face clearly writing 2 words, watching a play. Whoosh! A basin of water splashed straight out, neatly without spilling a drop, drenching him. "Lord Joe worked so hard to come here and stage a play. I have to help your lordship sober up." I handed the basin back to the wide-eyed maid, calmly stepped down the steps. "Please, Lord Joe, let us go to court." Drip, drip. He slowly wiped his face and called softly, "Fiona, wait." "Lord Joe," I glanced at him. "The one falling into the water is the fish, while I am a dried fish on land. Moreover, this is foot washing water left overnight. It is hard to come by." He swung his wide sleeves without getting angry, just wringing out the water and laughing. "Is Lady Yu here planning to learn from the Lady of Guo, entering the court without bothering to put on makeup?" I snorted. I dare not compare with Lord Joe, who even has to wash up fragrantly before going to court. The two of us exchanged words, mocking each other all the way to the palace gate. 2 sedan chairs side by side, no one willing to yield half a step. Entering the magnificent golden palace, the little emperor sat majestically on the dragon throne. Seeing the two of us, his eyes widened. "Minister Joe, Minister Yu, what is going on here?" One with messy hair and a dirty face, the other looking disheveled, as if just crawling out from under a table. Julian stepped forward, bowed, and cleared his throat solemnly. "Reporting to your majesty, this subject accidentally lifted Lady Yu's blanket, that is why it turned out like this." "You hooligan, you shameless bachelor." The faces of the 100 officials at that time were no different from commoners sitting in a tavern listening to stories. If they were given a handful of melon seeds, they would probably sit and watch until the end of the session. The little emperor also froze. "Minister Joe, what is the meaning of that sentence?" Julian pretended to sigh, shaking his head. It is true that drinking ruins matters, indeed it is not wrong, the more I speak the more wrong it gets. Julian. I was so angry my face turned red, calling him straight by his full name. He remained calm. So many eyes are looking at Lady U, it is better to temporarily call me Lord Joe. Down. No matter how I explain, it is useless. If that white, bearded grand scholar were present, he would beat his chest in lament. The morals of the world are decaying. The little emperor was afraid the two of us would argue until the palace broke, so he hurriedly changed the subject. All right, do any ministers have memorials to present? The world is peaceful, the treasury is full, no one has any business to report. Thinking back, I regret it. Yesterday, why did I not take the opportunity while drunk to write a memorial impeaching him, presenting it to the emperor that Julian is the biggest scoundrel in the world? With no business to discuss, the court was dismissed immediately. Usually, the first to leave was Grand Guardian Thomas Song, whose wife always waited outside the palace gate, undeterred by wind or rain. But today the first person to leave was me, followed closely by Julian. Fiona, yesterday I forgot to return them to you. Here are your shoes. I had just stepped 1 foot out of the door when I froze. Not only me, but even the liver emperor standing under the maid's fan widened his eyes. As soon as those words were spoken, the entire hall seemed paralyzed, no one moved, and all eyes simultaneously turned toward us. Only Grand Guardian Thomas Song calmly left, his thoughts directed solely toward his beloved wife. In the silence, I clearly heard the sound of my own teeth grinding. I turned back to receive the small pair of shoes from Julian's hand, gritting out each word. Many thanks, Lord Joe. If you say one more word, I fear I will die of anger. Walking just a few steps, I encountered Harrison stepping up the stairs, likely summoned to discuss his official appointment. Seeing me, he happily called out loud, Fiona you. I was too lazy to reply, only hearing Julian behind me slowly correct him. You should call her Lady U to be correct. Harrison froze for a moment, his tongue stiff, finally retreating 2 steps and bowing. Lady U, Lord Joe. I waved my hand. Brother Harrison has a bright future ahead, rising in rank and position. See you again someday. Having said that, I turned and walked away quickly. Harrison entered the hall, while Julian leisurely followed me all the way to the palace gate. A woman turns her face truly faster than flipping a book page. One day husband and wife, 100 days of grace. Lady U, you are too heartless, truly heartless. His voice was half teasing, half complaining. He was truly a master at provoking others. Lord Joe, it is better to worry about yourself. My heartlessness is manageable, but you not taking a wife, I fear you will soon have no descendants. I flicked my sleeve and strode straight ahead, but his long legs, walking like the wind, overtook me in just a few steps to block my path. Those words just now were a bit excessive. He stood blocking the way, looking at me intently. Stop teasing me, maybe I will live 10 years longer. He was silent for a moment then asked, Fiona, are you angry at me or at Harrison? Lord Joe, I do not understand why you keep habitually calling me Fiona, and then Fiona again. It is extremely rude. Fine, I do not have the energy to argue. I and Harrison have completely cut ties. River water does not violate well water. From now on, in front of me, please do not mention him. He laughed softly. Lady U is truly fickle. You loved him for so many years, yet you say you forget him just like that. I glared, gave him a hard shove, and pointed my finger straight at him. You clearly promised me, yet you still pretend to be confused. Having finished speaking, I turned to leave, but unexpectedly crashed straight into 2 people who had just arrived. Crash. A bowl of hot soup spilled everywhere, splashing all over me. Looking up, it was Grand Guardian Thomas Song and his wife. The 2 were leisurely strolling, while Julian and I were in a rush, so we collided right at the palace gate. Thomas Song was originally a calm person, but at this moment he was so angry his mustache trembled. Heavens and earth. My wife's daunting squirrel fish soup that she cooked with her own hands, I have not even had time to taste a sip. Fiona you. Just as I was about to bow and apologize, Julian pulled me behind him and asked, Are you burned? I swatted his hand away, flaring up. Men and women should not touch, do not drag me. You are the one who must pay for Lord Song's soup. The Grand Guardian's wife hurriedly mediated. That is enough, 2 lords, the weather is sweltering, please return to your manners to rest. But Thomas Song still wailed that he must make him pay, must pay. He barely shouted 2 sentences before being dragged away by his wife, instantly falling silent. It is all because you caused trouble for me. I raised my foot intending to kick Julian, but he dodged lightly as if it were nothing. Your legs are as short as a fish tail, why tire yourself kicking? Seeing that I was about to explode, he leisurely added, I once went to Lord Song's manor for a meal. His wife's cooking skills truly cannot make it to the main hall. Now that it is spilled, consider it saving me from a bout of suffering. Lord Zhou, if it rains tomorrow, please do not go out. With a mouth as poisonous as yours, I fear the heavens have eyes and will send lightning down to punish you. He just laughed, not taking it to heart, and asked, Are you truly not burned? I am burned all over. Do you want to see? Want to see to satisfy your eyes? Just meeting him, I no longer looked like a virtuous female official. My words poured out like a roaring lioness. Even I found myself akin to a shrew. I walked a few steps, suddenly remembering something, and turned back to ask, Lord Zhou, can you lend me the dance troupe you hired today? It is not that I cannot lend them, but what do you intend to do? Collect a debt? I snorted. The more I thought about it, the angrier I got. Leaving so much jewelry, gold, and silver for the Xiao family to occupy made my heart ache. I immediately called for some sturdy porters, instructing them to carry the 2 chests of betrothal gifts that the Xiao manor had once brought over. The red flowers were still tied on the lids. I had not even bothered to untie them. What could he give that my manor did not have? I did not need them anyway. In a moment, I would return these chests to the Xiao manor and bring my manor's items back. That jade pixie is very precious, remember to be careful. Less than half an hour later, someone ran back panting to report. Master, Lord Xiao refuses, saying no matter what, he wants to see you. I let out a cold laugh. Already have the divorce letter in hand, why play the trick of taking off pants before farting? I brushed the dust off my clothes, stood up lazily, and waved to the theater troupe waiting outside the door. Let us go. Sing for my amusement today. The more lively it is, the more generous the reward. Usually, commoners love to gather in tea houses to listen to stories, but today they crowded the streets surrounding the Xiao manor to watch the excitement. I sat on the 2 chests of betrothal gifts, crossing my legs, announcing that whoever cheered the loudest would be rewarded. About a quarter of an hour later, Harrison stepped out of the manor, his voice soft. Fiona, what are you doing here? Did Harrison not want to see me? Fiona, stop making a scene. He looked at me earnestly, his eyes wet. I should not have written the divorce letter, I regret it. I raised my hand to stop him, shaking my head. Today this official brings drums and gongs to congratulate Harrison on double happiness arriving at the door. 1 is promotion in rank, a bright future. 2 is casting off a fierce wife, reflecting to correct mistakes. I did not let him interrupt and continued. But business is business. I am returning your betrothal gifts in full. As for my dowry, please trouble yourself to return it. On the wedding day, you accepted the guests' money. I did not touch a single coin. As for the wedding expenses, rest assured, I will convert it into silver and pay it back. Fiona, why are you so cold? Calculating every little detail, I waved my sleeve, simply uttering one word, clear it out. The people from my manor followed orders immediately, rolling up their sleeves to act. But because I was a female official in the court, everyone was afraid of violating etiquette rules, so the whole group just stood there like clay statues, no one daring to move first. I turned to look at the trembling theater troupe playing music, and only then did things get a bit lively. Before long, my belongings were carried out completely, but behind them appeared another person. That woman had an appearance 70% like mine, only differing in the sorrowful look between her brows. Before she could open her mouth, tears were already falling profusely, completely out of rhythm with the joyous music resonating in front of the manor. Sister-in-law. Her voice trembled, sorrowful like an autumn leaf swept away by the wind. Helena, the sun is burning like fire, why did you run out here? Harrison hurriedly used his fan to shade her, looking as frantic as a monkey wearing brocade. Brother, you and sister-in-law have a misunderstanding because of me. If this heaven-destined marriage is severed, Helena will never be at peace for the rest of her life. I laughed coldly. Look at that, acting like that is called divine perfection, remember to learn from it. Helena heard this, blushed, tears choked in her throat, then let out a sob. Helena, this official is not your sister-in-law, nor do I have any heaven-destined marriage with your brother. An official 1 rank higher presses down like a mountain. You do not understand the rules, and your brother also ignores teaching you. Harrison immediately protected her, his voice stern. Lady Yu, regarding the matter between us, please do not drag Helena into it. This official has no deep hatred for Lord Xiao. If there really is any, I fear it is only because Lord Xiao covets my jade Pixiu and refuses to return it, forcing me to come personally to demand it. I gave a faint smile. It is understandable, that Pixiu is a rare treasure, not everyone has one. As for the jade Karen, it is currently at Grand Preceptor Julian's manor. He does not like precious items, leaving it there is a waste. Why doesn't Lord Xiao lower himself to ask for it back? Perhaps you might get it. Harrison's face turned bright red. Lady Yu, do not slander me. I am not a person greedy for wealth. Good, Lord Xiao is upright, while I am wide-eyed for money, greedy for profit. It is good to be clear like that. Just as I finished speaking, from afar I saw Julian riding a red horse slowly approaching. I heard you gave my jade Kirin to someone else. Fiona, you are truly capable, deciding everything on my behalf. He reined in the horse, his eyes glancing at Helena standing nearby, looking for a long time before turning back to say to me, "Where does she look like you?" I had not yet replied when that fragile flower timidly held Harrison's sleeve, whispering, "Brother, who is this noble person? Eyes teary like an autumn lake, posture soft as a weeping willow." Harrison softened his voice. "Do not be afraid, Helena. This is Grand Preceptor Zhou, Lord Zhou." I almost spat out laughter. He is truly a fool. His sister is not afraid at all. Clearly spring feelings have just budded, glancing once and she already admires Julian. She curtsied, weak as a flower waiting for the wind to sweep it away. "Lord Zhou, this humble girl's brother just arrived in the capital. His manners are still clumsy. If there was any disrespect, Helena asks to apologize on behalf of my eldest brother." "No need." Julian waved his hand, and even his horse shook its head along. "Although he is rude, he is still better than you. A maiden who has not left the boudoir yet dares to run out into the middle of the road to show her face. Where is the decorum?" Helena sobbed. Lord Zhou is right. It is just that Helena was anxious and wanted to say a few words to Lady Yu. Before she finished her sentence, Julian interrupted coldly. "If you have finished speaking, then go back quickly. Already ugly, and not knowing how to keep etiquette, I fear no one will marry you in this lifetime." Helena choked in her throat, let out another sob, and cried even louder. Lord Zhou can criticize Helena, but the world says Helena and Lady Yu have similar features. Speaking like that, aren't you scolding Lady Yu as well? I almost clapped my hands. Truly a little fox, skillfully dragging me in to take the blow. Before I could speak, Julian pulled the reins, walked the horse in a circle and shouted, "Who says who looks like whom? Blind in both eyes and heart, right, Lord Xiao?" Harrison lowered his head and gritted his teeth. "Lord Zhou, Helena misspoke, hope you overlook it." Julian snapped open his black jade-boned fan with gold trim, laughing faintly. I do not blame. You siblings truly neither of you know how to speak words that are pleasing to the ear." Just as he finished speaking, the horse suddenly neighed loudly, shaking its mane, startling the yellow dog in the Xiao Manor's courtyard. It overturned the basin of leftover rice and barked noisily. Julian glanced over, indifferent. Useless beast, eating white rice but spitting out filth. I tried to hold it in but finally burst out laughing. His mouth is truly poisonous, but as long as it is not poisonous to me, it is strangely amusing. Hearing me laugh, he turned to pretend to sigh. "Ah, Lord Xiao still hasn't left." "Yes, standing in the middle of the road in broad daylight. You won't pick up silver, only curses." Harrison trembled with anger, clasped his hands to excuse himself, trying to drag his sister away, but she kept holding back. "Lord Zhou, today Helena was truly rude. Why does Miss Xiao speak so much? The sun is harsh, go back quickly." Julian suddenly spoke in a gentle voice, making one wonder what trick he was planning. He dusted off his sleeve lightly, speaking leisurely. "A fair complexion can hide 100 uglinesses. If you let the sun burn you, there will be nothing left but to cry for a lifetime." Whether Helena cried herself tired or not, I do not. I only know I laughed until I almost vomited on the spot. Seeing this, Julian tilted his head and asked, "Fiona, what is wrong? Want to vomit?" I hurriedly made an excuse. "It is just too hot, too hot." He nodded, sighing. This official also wants to vomit. Not sure if it is because of the heat or because I saw something filthy. I clutched my stomach, laughing until my body went limp. Leaving the Xiao Manor, I happily rewarded the whole group with silver. I said it, anyone who makes me happy gets a reward, line up to collect it. Everyone cheerfully accepted. Even getting a few scraps of silver was joyous after watching a play all morning. I did not collect money, that was already very benevolent. Finally Julian, dressed in brocade embroidered with blue clouds, leisurely stepped forward to demand a reward. "Lord Zhou is also here to collect." I half smiled. "You said it yourself, Anyone who makes you happy gets a reward. Fiona isn't the person who makes you happiest me. Thinking about it, it was true. I was momentarily speechless, so I waved my hand to give him money. Do not say you want to dismiss me with 2 tals of silver. He raised an eyebrow. I laughed. Then what does Lord Joe want? He patted the dowry chests I had just brought back. You have reclaimed enough gold and silver. Now it is your turn to treat me to a round of wine. I was in high spirits, so I replied immediately. All right, today is joyful, I will treat. Jade Pavilion, you lead the way. The wine was served. I had only drunk 1 cup when he switched it for tea. He looked up at me, his voice faint. Still dare to drink? Aren't you afraid that if you get drunk this time, you'll leave your stomacher for me to keep? Get lost. Your mouth begrudges even 1 kind word. I ignored him, switching to tea. My heart so happy and refreshed that even the tea tasted strangely delicious. From downstairs came the sound of singing, the voice still very young. Last time I was drunk, so I did not hear clearly. Now that I was sober, I realized it was the lewd song Spring Love. I frowned, tapping the table. In broad daylight, what are they singing? Julian lowered his head to pick up food, his voice indifferent. You do not like it, but there are always people who do. Saying that, he put down his chopsticks and called the waiter up to serve. What do the 2 lords order? I ask you, how old is the girl singing that song? Reporting, just 14. Julian and I looked at each other. The same age as the little emperor, yet destinies were worlds apart. I asked further. At 14, why teach her to sing those filthy lyrics? The waiter was embarrassed for a long time before replying. Masters, please understand. It is not us lowly people who teach it, but some noble guests keep forcing her to sing. They come every day, we lowly people dare not disobey. Julian's voice turned cold. Which noble guest that you dare not offend? It is the son of the great general of the North, Charlie Chen. He says listening to a little girl sing songs of spring has a unique flavor. I was furious and cursed. That bastard, a brat spoiled into rotten habits. An old father having a child late spoils him into a monster. I told the waiter to bring pen and paper, wrote a few lines for new lyrics, and brought it down to tell the girl to sing exactly according to these words. The waiter glanced at it, his face turning pale. Lady Yu, will this cause trouble? Lord Joe bears it. I replied leisurely. The waiter looked at Julian. He nodded. Bear it. Before long, the singing downstairs changed. Gentlemen, please pause your chopsticks. Listen to me sing a song. Little maid of 14 springs, peach blossom age just budding. That handsome gentleman over there, this little girl is innocent and clumsy. From afar you look elegant, up close you turn into a scoundrel. The father is a great general, his merits are countless. Who would have expected a tiger father to beget a dog son, drowning himself in silk skirts? The little girl dares not speak, asking gentlemen to judge. High heaven has clear eyes, karma spares no one. Private virtue is not kept, how can public fame remain? The song had not yet ended when the sound of tables and chairs crashing rang out downstairs, followed by a drunken, growling voice. You cheap wench, dare to provoke me. I leaned against the railing looking down, tilting my head to ask Julian. Lord Joe, did I throw accurately? He glanced at me, drank his wine, picked up the empty cup, and walked over to stand beside me. Crack, a crisp sound rang out. That young master clutched his head and screamed. Who dares to ambush this young master? Julian took the teacup from my hand. Crack, another sound. Men. Protect me, hurry up. Downstairs was in chaos. Someone with big guts shouted loudly. Look, he is scared until he wet his pants. 2 teacups just thrown. The son of General Chen trembled until his clothes were truly wet. You, who are you people to dare ambush this young master? I covered my nose with my hand, tilting my head. Julian waved his fan, his voice leisurely. This lady you hear is the current grand tutor. In terms of rank, she is half a rank higher than your father. He praised me with a sentence. I also pushed the boat with the current. It is also thanks to Grand Preceptor Zhou. Hearing our identities revealed, that stupid young master immediately lowered his voice. 2 lords, why ambush me? Ambush, there was none. I smiled lightly. This official heard the girl sing so well, I could not help but throw a reward onto the stage. What? Could it be it hit you? Julian knew very well how to play along, glancing at the singing girl and then pointing at the 2 broken cup pieces on the ground. It is a reward from Lady Yu. Why don't you hurry and accept it? The girl hurriedly knelt down to pick up the porcelain pieces, trembling as she said, thanking the Lord for the reward. I waved my hand telling the waiter to bring her upstairs. That young master did not dare touch me and Julian, so he blocked the girl's path instead. Wait, that song you just sang, who was it for? The girl was so scared she could not utter a word, only sneaking a glance at me for help. I smiled and spoke leisurely. This official also finds it strange, not sure who it was sung for. Lord Joe is learned and knowledgeable yet cannot hear it. This official reluctantly considers herself to have some literary talent, but also cannot guess. Or perhaps Charlie Chen has heard it. Then please speak. Who was it sung for? Provoked by my few sentences, he immediately flared up. Does Lady Yu intend to pretend be a hero defending this cheap wench? I took a step forward, launching a kick straight into his stomach, my voice cold. Shut up. What are you to dare speak like that? Go back and ask your father if he dares to use that tone to speak to me, Fiona Yu. He clutched his stomach, eyes widening, as if he did not believe I actually dared to use force, then he howled like a pig being slaughtered. Julian still calmly waved his fan, watching him roll on the floor, laughing faintly. Lady Yu is truly spirited, not even respecting the face of the great general of the north. I snorted lightly, half smiling, tilting my head to say to him, did Lord Joe not say you would bear it for me? Charlie Chen screamed and rolled, causing chaos in the entire Jade Pavilion. He sat heavily on the ground, pants still wet, screaming furiously. You people rely on power to bully others. I must go back and report to my father. I am different from you. I laughed scornfully. If I want to bully, I do it myself, no need to rely on anyone's power. You go back and tell your father. General Chen charged into the battlefield back then, blood staining his armor. His head never bowing half an inch. Now because of a useless son like you, he has to bow his head to beg me. Do you not feel ashamed? I mocked him, every word like a sharp knife. Just 2 cups scared you into wetting your pants. Being so useless, how dare you sneak into a brothel to hear a little girl sing lewd songs, not even caring if she is a chaste maiden or not. Entering a brothel, I fear as soon as you take off your pants, they would make you pay first. That useless thing of yours, who knows when it will break, who would want to serve it, do not soil the reputation of other people's daughters. If I were you, I would rather not marry in this life, lest on the wedding night, the bride dies of laughter. I scolded in one breath without pausing. Julian waited for me to finish scolding before leisurely pouring water for me to rinse my mouth. That young master, with tears in his eyes, crawled up, shouted for his servants to leave, then covered his crotch with his hands and struggled to run out of the wine-house. As for that girl, I immediately redeemed her and brought her back to my manor to ask for her name. She said she did not remember her old name. Following the surname of the brothel owner, she was called Wei Li. The name sounded pleasant to my ears, so I kept it. Layla Wei. Layla Wei was obedient, sensible, spoke little, and worked quickly. I advised her several times that she did not need to do heavy work, she just smiled gently, saying the master gave her a second life. In this life the servant is willing to repay. In the first few days she was still afraid, worrying Charlie Chen would come to cause trouble. I told her it was fine, someone was shielding us. In fact, General Chen is a reasonable person. Although he loves his son, he distinguishes right from wrong very clearly. One day coming back from outside, I saw Layla Wei holding a handkerchief standing in front of the vanity table, gazing at the hairpins and bracelets. I called out. She was startled and retreated several steps. Master, this servant was only looking, taking nothing. This servant knows her mistake. I called her over to sit in front of the copper mirror. She hesitated a bit then obediently followed. It was my negligence. At this age one naturally likes to dress up. I chose a mustard flower hairpin to put on her hair, saying this one suits you. If you like any other item, just choose. My things do not suit your age. Tomorrow I will take you to the street to pick some new ones. Layla Wei was overjoyed, trying one hairpin after another, finally carefully putting them back in their place. Master, this servant only tried them on. Wearing these things makes working very inconvenient. Looking at her made me feel pity. She is too sensible yet always thinks she is unworthy. Suddenly heard a call. Master. I turned around. It was the little emperor followed by Julian. Your Majesty, Lord Joe. I bowed. Layla Wei also knelt down to finish the ceremony. I muttered softly. Why did I not see anyone report beforehand? We told them to dispense with the announcement. Emperor Theo replied, then looked at Layla Wei asking. Who is she? I replied. My newly adopted younger sister named Fiona Layla Wei. The emperor nodded, saying nothing more. Layla Wei did not understand the hidden meaning. But Julian knew clearly that this little emperor was taught by him and me since childhood. How could I be strange to his temperament? That look just now clearly showed interest in Layla Wei. It was inconvenient at the Jade Pavilion, but if she is Fiona Yu's sister, the matter is different. Master, this time we came to discuss a matter with you. I smiled and accepted the words. Is it that your majesty wants to discuss the official appointment for Harrison? The emperor was slightly stunned then rejoiced. Master predicts things like a god. I still smiled. If it were not for that matter, Lord Joe would not have rushed here following your majesty. Emperor Theo said. If Harrison makes you an Izor, we will transfer him elsewhere. No need, I replied. Harrison is a rare talent, should be kept in the capital, he can be used when needed. Your majesty, choosing people should value talent, not the official. The emperor nodded. Master teaches rightly. I glanced at Julian, leisurely adding, Your majesty, surely Lord Joe used sweet words to bewitch again. He does not wish to keep Harrison in the capital, only wishing to push him as far away as possible, because his sister, Helena, has already set her heart on Lord Joe. Mentioning Helena, the emperor said, Master, I heard she and you have similar appearances, hard to distinguish. Before I could reply, Julian leisurely intervened. Those are all rumors from the marketplace. This subject has met her, not alike at all. The emperor laughed and said, Even if only 2 parts alike, she must be a peerless beauty. Julian heard this and burst out laughing. The emperor asked, What is the Grand Preceptor laughing at? Laughing at the whole world, except for your majesty, who else has ever praised her as beautiful? The Grand Preceptor once praised her, and praised her more than once. Have you forgotten? I huffed softly, glancing at Julian. Lord Joe, turns out you also know how to speak human language. The little emperor immediately exposed him on the spot, yet he remained calm, only saying, Your majesty, speaking must have a head and a tail. This subject once said, Lady Yu's appearance is dignified and virtuous, but her temperament is somewhat hot-tempered. Those words were clearly praise on the outside but criticism on the inside. The little emperor patted my shoulder again. Not correct, the original text was not like that. This sentence still has a latter part. I was interested and smiled lightly. Your majesty, say it, what is the latter part? The little emperor cleared his throat, imitating. Little fish looks virtuous and dignified, but her temperament is somewhat hot-tempered. Every time she is angry, this subject only finds her adorable, only wanting to tease her a little more. Julian closed his fan, tapping it lightly on his palm, leisurely saying, Your majesty has grown up now. I fear no one dares to hit your palm anymore. I hurriedly intervened. Lord Joe, are you turning shame into anger? He smiled. What do I have to be angry about? I find you good. Is it possible that today is the first time you knew I said that sentence? He looked at me once, his gaze calm but profound. I was blocked by his words, taking a long time to smile. Your majesty, do not mind him. What do you want to eat? Tell the imperial kitchen to prepare. The little emperor imitated Julian's tone to tease me. Little fish, what does we want to eat? Could it be you do not know? A teenage voice trying to learn the tone of an adult, sounding like no one else and incredibly funny. Layla Wei, standing nearby, burst out laughing, was glanced at by the emperor, and immediately lowered her head, not daring to. The little emperor asked again, How was it? Did we imitate well? Layla Wei secretly looked up once, shook her head slightly. Not alike, she replied softly. Not as good as the theater actors in my hometown. The emperor laughed and waved his hand. That is because we have not learned it yet. If discussing governing the country and pacifying the people, then it is endless. Layla Wei immediately continued. Surely you are the best. The emperor burst out laughing and asked, How old are you? 14 next month, turning 15. Then the same age as we. We was also born next month. This servant is on the 8th of next month. Oh, we are also on the 8th of next month. The little emperor stood up, stepping closer to her. That day there a banquet, you come too. Layla Wei hurriedly stepped back. This servant dares not. Why dare not? In the palace everyone is of noble rank. This servant is humble and lowly. How dare I attend a banquet in the palace? We are the most noble person. You are a friend of we, why can you not come? Moreover, you are also the sworn sister of the master, meaning a family member of a court official, also a noble person. Layla Wei still shook her head. This servant does not understand etiquette, afraid of making your majesty and the master lose face. The little emperor sighed. That day there are pastries beautiful as flowers, hairy crabs as big as a face, sweet fruits presented as tribute from the south. Little Peer, are you truly not going? He called her Little Peer. Julian and I glanced at each other, both laughing. Layla Wei still said she would not go, but clearly swallowed her saliva with a gulp. The little emperor had to say, Fine then, if you do not go, we will send someone to pack some for you to taste. I patted his shoulder. Joking with your majesty. Is it possible that in my manor we are so poor that we do not even have those dishes? The little emperor was stunned. Julian laughed softly, saying to me, Lady, you are a literati yet do not understand the old drunkard's heart is not in the wine means what? Why me and him singing in harmony, teasing Layla why until her face turned red, hurriedly running away. After she left, the emperor instructed me again. Master must definitely think of a way to bring little Peer to attend the banquet. I said, only fear that if this subject brings her, your majesty will not pay attention to her anymore. No, he hurriedly replied, thought for a bit then stood up. Master, we leave first, have work to do. Walking a few steps, he turned back to look at Julian. Is the Grand Preceptor not leaving? This subject is not leaving. This subject wants to stay for a meal. He stood up to bow, respectfully sending off your majesty. The emperor left. I glanced at him. Lord Joe, you are truly not polite. He leaned back in the chair, leisurely saying, Little fish, asking me to stay for a meal hurts, asking to stay to sleep is that difficult. I huffed softly. Dreaming in broad daylight. Lady, if you did not know how to dream, you would not have sent your body to the wrong place, inviting the laughter of the world. I glared at him. You have never eaten pork, yet dare to laugh at me who has eaten it. He laughed, opening his fan to look at me, slowly saying, Do you know why I have not taken a wife until now? I waved my hand. Do not blame it on me. I once advised you to give up your heart early, when you were bent on marrying Harrison. I also advised you. Did you listen? I laughed in annoyance. Why do you keep dragging me into the conversation? He laughed. Why can I not? Is it possible I am inferior to him? Not inferior or not, but there is nothing to compare. I softened my voice saying, Harrison is an obsession of my youth. Tried it, failed, then let it be. But you and I are intimate friends. Intimate friends, he repeated softly, his voice like a laugh. Lady, have you forgotten? That year why did I recommend you to enter the court? I have never forgotten. He recommended me just as I gave the surname you to Layla away. That year he once said, people told him he should marry a noble daughter, but he did not like it. What is so strange about noble families? Is raising the person you like by yourself not better? He said being an official is to seek wealth, but those were lies. Because he, like me, both wished for one lifetime, one couple. I shook my head. Lord Joe, that year I made it clear. I liked Harrison, he asked. Do you still like him now? Now although I no longer like him, not liking is not liking. Why the although and but? He interrupted. And me, did you ever say you did not like me? I never said it. My heart was tangled like silk, almost blurting it out. I tried to regain composure and said, Lord Joe, please remember, I am a person who has been married. He looked at me for a very long time, only saying 4 words. So what if you remarry? I committed the 7 grounds so I was chased away. Not the same. What are the 7 grounds? According to the record of rights, unfilial to parents, barrenness, lewdness, jealousy, wicked heart, excessive talking, stealing. He laughed lightly. All words of those holding the brush. You want me to write for you 1,000 grounds. 10,000 grounds, but for me there is only one ground that never changes. I listened silently. He continued, Only you, I cannot leave. I was silent. My throat was dry, poured a cup of tea and drank several mouthfuls but still felt hot. Was about to pour more when my hand was held by him. I looked up meeting his eyes. Little fish, you are noble and proud. I am also virtuous and glorious, whose face is not a face. He laughed softly, his voice light but firm. Today I speak not for the first time, but it is the last time. If you do not agree, from now on, after court, you and I will not meet again. I hesitated forever, my heart in turmoil, only managing one sentence. Whether it should happen or not, is there a need to pressure people like that? He was calm as water, nodded slightly, stood up and clasped his hand saying, Lady, Julian has abruptly disturbed you, now turning back to stop, not asking about the future. The court is high and far. Wishing you success like spring wind, the world is wide and vast. May you meet someone as you wish. Having finished speaking, he turned and walked out, never looking back. On the way meeting Layla Way bringing a tray of rice, she asked, Is the Lord not staying for the meal? He laughed, using his fan to tap lightly on her head. You think my Grand Preceptor manor has no rice to eat? I sat still thinking, perhaps this was an unhappy parting. Before, we were like this many times, but this time was completely different. The next morning entering the court, the 2 sedan chairs met again in the narrow alley. He silently moved aside, only then did I confirm. It is truly different. Julian no longer paid attention to me. The officials were sharp, in just a few days they saw that he and I had truly fallen out. I was single-handedly supported by him. rising from a leisurely female official to an extremely high position. Grand Preceptor, Grand Tutor, although the titles sound beautiful, the real power is not much. Two people like that cracking, surely not because of work. If not public, it must be private. Those people were sharp-eyed as monkeys, guessing not wrong by an inch. It was a private affair. Julian was right, I was proud. He also valued face. He loved me, but I made him lose face time and again. He is cold now. It is also natural. However, if it was natural, why did I still feel choked in my chest, extremely uncomfortable? Those days, every time I entered the court and saw him, I felt frustrated. Looking away from him, I caught sight of Harrison, feeling even more annoyed. To the point where a friend asked me to correct an essay for his young son. I just blurted out a curse. What kind of thing is written here? All nonsense. Today, a fire of anger rose in my heart again, more intense than usual, just because upon arriving at the palace gate I saw a delicate flower with a tear mole like morning dew at the corner of her eye. Helena, why did you come here? Harrison ran so fast I thought he was being chased by a dog. I came to pick up Big Brother. Those 5 words were spoken so full as if wanting to shed tears. I looked straight ahead, one foot just stepping onto the sedan chair, when I heard a soft, weak call. Lord Joe. In my heart I silently shouted go quickly, but my legs did not listen. Turning back, Julian walked leisurely. Hearing someone call he replied, Miss Xiao. As soon as the words ended, he did not stop, only lightly brushing past me, stepping onto his own sedan chair. I stood there, only feeling awkward, waiting half the day not knowing what I was waiting for. Even Harrison asked, Fiona, are you standing here waiting for someone? Julian's sedan chair still had not left. I did not want to answer. While hesitating, suddenly heard a soft cry of pain, that delicate flower clutching her forehead, almost falling down. Helena, what is wrong with you? Harrison was panicked, almost jumping up. Big Brother, probably the weather is too hot. I walked for a long time so I feel a bit dizzy. Like this, what should we do? Today, Big Brother did not prepare a set-in chair. Let Big Brother carry you back. Julian never liked interfering in other people's business, yet this time he lifted the sedan curtain to ask, is everything all right? As soon as he asked, that flower was teary-eyed, weak like a fairy descending to earth. My chest hurts, a bit tired. Harrison's face turned red. Helena is inherently weak and cannot stand wind and sun. Lord Joe, this official is presumptuous, hoping you allow her to travel with you for a segment. A matter so against etiquette, for a cautious person like him, yet for Helena he bowed his head to beg. Naturally. Julian replied, then turned to me. Lady Yu, last time discussing the memorial congratulating the Emperor's longevity, there were still a few places not suitable. Take the opportunity on the way to discuss together. I was stunned for a moment, only slowly understanding the meaning. Ah, Lord Xiao, you and your sister get on my sedan chair to go. You must serve thoughtfully on the way, do not be negligent. Saying that, I stepped onto Julian's sedan chair. The sedan chair was spacious. I sat next to him, each occupying a corner, no one saying a word. If I had known earlier, I would not have gotten on. It was truly torture. But if I did not get on to let Helena sit here, would I be resigned? No. Also not resigned, also still torture, truly making me die of anger. Why did I become this kind of woman? I do not know how fate teased me today. Halfway back to the manor, met a melon cart overturned, red watermelons smashed open. The seller's face was red, comforting his wife beside him. The wife said nothing, only silently wiping tears. Move aside, do not block the Lord's way. The bearers shouted loudly. I was feeling awkward. Hearing the commotion I hurried to poke my head out, to watch the excitement. The woman timidly said, Official, truly sorry, we did not see you. Saying that, she pulled her husband, but the husband stood still looking at the pile of smashed melons stubbornly. The wife advised, Stop, cannot save it anymore, consider it sold out today, let us go back to eat cold noodles, hurry and clear the way for the Lord. The seller used his sleeve to wipe his face, not knowing if it was sweat or tears. She woke up early to work the fields. So hard, I am truly useless. Water is carried by you, fields are plowed by you, why say useless? Which field is plowed? By me. Clearly the buffalo did it. The buffalo was also bought by your hard-earned money, also your merit. She pulled him again. Stop, do not delay anymore, lest the official gets angry. The seller bent down to pick up a few melons with only bruised rinds and walked to my sedan chair. Master, if you do not disdain, please accept 2 melons. The crime is truly hard to forgive, blocking your way. The wife also hurriedly said, That is right, although the rind is slightly cracked but the inside is red, sweet and crisp, all grown by us husband and wife personally. Hope the master does not disdain. The sentiment was earnest. I had to accept 2 melons. The two of you have deep husband and wife affection, truly precious. How much for the melons? Calculate the money, I will buy them all. The seller hurriedly shook his head. Master only needs to eat. How dare we take money for damaged melons? Which melon is damaged? Only scratched a bit of skin, still good melons. I replied, then gave silver. They were grateful forever, joyfully saying they would go back to eat cold noodles. He looked like he wanted to take his wife to a restaurant to eat potatoes to be less miserable. Waiting for them to go far, the seat and chair started again. I hugged the few melons in my lap, hesitating for a long time, then shared 2 with the person next to me. Lord Joe, the weather is hot, eat some melon to cool down. These words were truly clumsy, but I did not know what else to say. Could I say, you eat my melon, let us make peace? 2 people being officials, not 3-year-old children. He did not refuse, only said nothing, handing the melon outside for his subordinate to hold. Julian was like a high tower of 100 feet, impossible to climb in just 1 step. The sedan chair suddenly tilted. I hugged the melons and fell forward. He reached out to support, only touching lightly once. What happened? He asked. Nothing, just that I was not sitting firmly, I replied. He lifted the curtain to ask the bearer. What is wrong? Master, forgive me, stepped on a melon, rained and slipped. Turns out he did not ask me. I assumed I was being cared for again. Julian turned his head to look at me. What did lady you just say? I shook my head. No, nothing, continue on. From then on throughout the way no one opened their mouth. What he thought I did not know, only felt myself soaking. The sedan chair stopped in front of my manor. Many thanks to Lord Joe for bothering, I said before getting off. Waited a while, he did not reply. I had to get off the sedan chair dejectedly. Walking a few steps, about to cross the threshold, but the anger was still choking. I turned my head and said, Lord Joe, if you are not eating the melons, return them to me, I like to eat them. The sedan chair did not budge, nor was there a sound. I was so angry I wanted to rush over to snatch the melons back from his attendant's hand. Just stepping 1 foot, heard 1 word, eat. Julian, that scoundrel, ate my melon and still dared to keep a cold face. Actually, thinking carefully, I had no ground to stand on. If he only wants me but I refuse, we should draw a clear line. But I could not bear it. Usually, I found him annoying. But now that he no longer came to bother me, I felt an emptiness in my heart. Perhaps distance makes the heart grow fonder, while nearness breeds contempt, but it also becomes a habit. Recently, the 4 princesses came to learn poetry from me. They are quadruplet sisters, lively in nature and disliking restraint. Usually, I tell them folk stories. Today I told the story of the Mulberry Road. After listening, Princess Victoria clapped her hands. Master, I understand. It means that the prefect was lustful and looked down on Lufu, wanting to sit in the same carriage with her, but was cleverly scolded by her. I nodded slightly. Yes, that is roughly it, Princess Vanessa said. Men and women should not touch, indeed one should not sit in the same carriage, but I think if it was someone I admired inviting me to sit together, I would definitely agree. I suddenly felt a bit guilty. Had I not just sat in Julian's sedan chair? Not correct. Why am I remembering him again? Seeing I did not speak, Princess Vivian immediately asked, Master, what do you think? I think so too. I intended to steer the conversation to another topic when Princess Valerie, the youngest princess, added another sentence. Master, the prefect admiring Lufu is not wrong. Grand Preceptor Zhou taught the line, a fair lady is a gentleman's desire. A gentleman meeting a beauty and pining for her, restless even in dreams. Is that not also a good thing? I coughed lightly, replying somewhat awkwardly. Having affection and righteousness, daring to love and daring to accept, naturally is a good thing. The 4 princesses nodded together, then pulled my sleeve, speaking in a secretive tone. Master, let us tell you a story, but you must not tell anyone else. I did not rush to agree, only said, just say it, what is the matter? Princess Victoria had the biggest guts, immediately pulling a scroll of paper from her sleeve and spreading it on the small stone table. Master, we heard that the new scholar Harrison has an outstanding demeanor. Victoria and Vanessa keep saying he is the #1 handsome man in the court, but Vivian and Valerie think but compared to Master Zhou, the Grand Preceptor, he is still inferior by a few parts. It is just that we have only seen portraits, not knowing who is better. You have met them. So may we ask who is more handsome? How strange. Why do I feel like the whole world is against me, every sense making me choke? You are all princesses with noble status. Why discuss men's looks? It is truly not in accordance with etiquette, I said sternly. Princess Vanessa laughed immediately. Master, you are being old-fashioned again. Do you not hate old-fashioned people the most? Princess Victoria was quick-mouthed again. I guess both are handsome, so the master does not know who to choose. I immediately lowered my voice. We are learning poetry. You have learned only a few words, yet after listening to stories you gossip, and now even choosing beauties. This is too much. I am confiscating these 2 small portraits. I had just grabbed the 2 drawings and turned to leave when the 4 princesses chirped and swarmed around, laughing and fighting like baby birds protecting their nest. I dodged while teasing them, retreating a few steps until I bumped into someone behind me. Oh my! I turned around and it turned out to be Julian. Lord Joe. He nodded slightly. Lady Yu. Saying that, he bent down to pick up a piece of paper at my feet. Only then did I discover I was holding only one picture, not knowing when the other one had fallen. He glanced at it, seeing it was a drawing of Harrison. His expression did not change, he only handed it back. Lady Yu, your item, not mine. I thought for a moment. I could not say the princesses drew men and hid them in their sleeves, so I corrected myself. Not only his picture, there is also yours. Look. As soon as I finished speaking, I regretted it. Truly stupid, no different from a pig. Indeed, Julian's eyes moved slightly. Lady Yu, do you want to compile a book of beauties? Lord Joe, you misunderstand. Lady Yu, hold it tight. If the wind blows it into the lake it will be hard to retrieve. He did not bother listening to my explanation, turning to leave. Hey, Lord Joe, Julian. He had long legs. I could not catch up, having to call his full name before he stopped, turning his head. In his hand, he held a fan with a gold tassel at the handle fluttering in the wind, while he leisurely walked back step by step. Do you never listen to me finish a sentence? He stopped in front of me, his voice deep. Lady Yu, are you and I that intimate? I took a deep breath. Lord Joe, one must be reasonable. Before, didn't you always call me Fiona? At that time, how many buckets of cold water did you pour on me? He laughed faintly. Fine, Julian does not like to calculate, rest assured. From now on I will only call you Lady Yu. Call me whatever you want, Lord Joe, but this drawing is truly not what you think. I held the 2 sheets of paper, trying to think of a way to say it to save face for the princesses, without making him lose face. Face truly harms people. While we were at a stalemate, suddenly from behind came the soft voice of Princess Vanessa. Master Joe, it truly is not the master's item. It was us who asked someone to draw them to ask the master to choose. Julian's expression did not change. Choose what? Princess Vanessa replied. Choose who is more handsome, please. Master Joe, do not tell Imperial Father. He was amused by these little girls, asking further. So how did the princesses choose? Princess Victoria said. Does the master want to know who Lady Yu chose? You could not choose. Princess Vivian nudged her. Who said no? She chose already. Princess Valerie also chimed in. That is right, the master talking to Master Joe is blushing. Isn't that having chosen already? When did I blush? These brats. Lord Joe, the princesses are still young. Julian did not look at me, only speaking sternly. Princesses, the Analects say, looking at a person one must not only look at appearance but must value virtue, understand? The 4 princesses spoke in unison. Understood, master. He nodded then turned to me. Lady Yu, Julian bids farewell. Lord Joe. I called after him, not knowing why I called. Lord Joe, can I walk with you for a segment? Today I walked here. Earlier outside the palace I saw your sedan chair. I have a matter to discuss with you. Julian stopped again, looking at me for a long time then said 2 words. Follow me. I was inherently not an obedient person, yet at this moment I timidly followed behind, daring not ask half a sentence, only fearing he would lose patience and turn his back to leave. This small pavilion was a place the emperor reserved specifically for him, though he rarely came. Lady Yu, what exactly do you want? He did not invite me to sit, opening with a straightforward question. I was silent, because I myself did not know the answer. Hearing him continue. When I chased you, you found it annoying. Now I know it is difficult and withdraw, not wanting to cling to any more, yet you run to me yourself. Why? I lowered my head listening to his rebuke, replying dejectedly in a small voice. You and I have known each other for many years, isn't it also fun? Can we not just be friends without romantic love? Lady Yu, you must understand. For many years the fun was only yours. As for me it was annoyance, it was pain, it was torment, because you were sometimes near sometimes far, your true heart unclear. Hearing him say that, it turned out I truly had no reason at all. So what do you think? He laughed softly. You eat well, sleep well, get promoted, get married, not delaying anything. While I stop chasing, you feel uncomfortable. I want to withdraw, you feel wronged. Lady Yu, why are you so domineering? I am not as bad as you say, it is just that you ignoring me makes me feel a bit sad. I spoke until here, my voice already choked. He looked at me, his eyes deep, slowly saying, Lady Yu, are you sad because there is no one to argue with you anymore, or because I no longer like you? Julian stepped closer, his voice low like wind passing over tiles. Fiona Yu, Julian is not a clown for you to tease at will to relieve boredom. Just as he finished speaking, he suddenly pushed me lightly. Clearly just a gentle movement, yet I was pressed back against the ironwood pillar, my fingertips scratching the red paint, leaving a small mark. Julian, you, Lady Yu. He cut me off, one hand pressing on my shoulder. If you are sincere with me, you can call me whatever you want. But if not, from now on you should obediently call me Lord Zhou, do you hear clearly? You. First, do not stand so close to me. He acted as if he did not hear. Just as I tried to dodge, I was caught by him, pressed tightly against the pillar. Lady Yu. His voice was deep, carrying a few parts of mockery. You used to disguise as a man, rolling in the official circles. How come until now you still do not understand what a man is? He stared at me, his wrist rotating slightly. The fan in his hand slid into the knot at my waist. Just a light lift could untie it. Men are not Buddha statues. Even a gentleman like Lu Xiaohui, meeting the person he loves, must try to endure. You keep jumping in front of my eyes, bumping left and right, truly do not know life or death, understand. Saying that, he withdrew the fan, letting go of his hand, yet still refused to retreat. I intentionally gave you the cold shoulder, was that not to suit your wishes? Yet you intentionally provoke me, what do you want to do? Play a game. I took a deep breath, shaking my head slightly. It is not like that, do not think badly of me. If not, then good. He smiled, faintly. If you only intend to amuse yourself with me for fun, Lady Yu, do not blame me for not warning you first. I am not a coward, nor am I a saint. If you play like that, sooner or later you will harm yourself, and at that time crying will be too late. Lord Zhou, do not rush to scare me. Give me a few days, let me think carefully. I thought back and forth, and finally arrived at the day of the little emperor's birthday celebration. Layla Wei helped me prepare my clothes. Before leaving the door, I asked her, "Do you want to go?" She asked back, "Master, if this servant does not go, will the emperor blame you because of that?" I laughed. "How could that be? If you want to go, then let us go together. If not, just stay home and wait for me. Then this servant will not go." She walked to the door, then turned back to instruct. "Master, attending the banquet you must be cautious with your words, restrain your temper. Now that you and Lord Zhou have fallen out, this servant fears no one is backing you anymore." I was inherently not someone who relied on Julian's power to act arrogantly, but hearing her say that, I still felt stifled in my heart. The banquet had begun. I sat opposite him. The little emperor spoke a few polite sentences, then ordered musicians and dancers. Wine flowed continuously. Sounds of longevity blessings filled the hall. Watching the dance became boring. Someone suggested that since today was a joyous day, why not play a drinking game with poetry, both interesting and adding to the fun. The little emperor nodded. "Good, then we will start first," taking the red silk ribbon on the dancer's head as the topic. "What do the ministers think?" The emperor had spoken. Who dared to disobey? His Majesty cleared his throat slightly. 3,000 strands of hair cannot cover it all, like a flower under the moon shading the path. A head of black hair wrapped in a red silk ribbon, brilliant as a flower blooming in the night. It was Julian's turn. He did not hesitate at all, slowly continuing. "The master of Nanling gifts red silk, not to make a head scarf, but wishing to make a wedding veil. Gifting red silk is not a gesture of friendship but a proposal of marriage." The little emperor clapped his hands. "Indeed worthy of the master, truly excellent." Then it was General Chen's turn. "Ah, let this old subject think." The little emperor burst out laughing. "If the general hesitates and cannot come up with a verse, you will be punished with wine." "Hey, I have it. The general, afraid of the wine, blurted out, 2 yards of pink silk wide and long, looking like a rooster's comb on the head. The whole hall burst out laughing, even the princesses could not hold it in. The general still tried to argue. "What? Does it not rhyme?" Fine, this old man is unlucky, sitting right behind Lord Zhou is truly suffering." After the wine penalty, the game continued, finally passing to my turn. I pondered then recited, "Amidst a myriad of distant stars I still see fire, shining bright but you do not see me. The pink silk ribbon still burns brightly in the Milky Way, yet in your heart bright as the moon, I am no longer there. Perhaps due to the alcohol, otherwise I usually could not speak such melancholic words. Unknown who was drunk, suddenly a teasing voice rang out. Lady Yu here is still clinging to old love, writing for Lord Xiao to hear, is that right? Before I could reply, the emperor lightly tapped the table. Who is that? Take him back to rest and sober up immediately. Since His Majesty had spoken, it was inconvenient for me to pursue it. Looking up, I saw Julian also looking at me. Only his face showed no expression. I raised my cup. Your Majesty, this subject did not compose well, requesting self-punishment. The emperor laughed. Minister, you composed very well, why say not well? I finished the cup, only fearing causing others to misunderstand, that would be not well. Before long, it was Harrison's turn. He pondered for a while then slowly recited. Appearance like a flower, who dares to compete? A fresh pink ribbon surpasses a maple leaf. The poem was so good that even the old scholar famous for being difficult praised Lord Xiao for being truly elegant. Julian nodded slightly, his eyes also carrying a few parts of appreciation. The emperor clapped his hands laughing. Good, should be rewarded. Harrison immediately raised his cup and drank it all. Your Majesty, truthfully I dare not hide it, this line was modified by this subject from my little sister's poem. Your sister is Helena. She also knows how to compose poetry. Yes, the original text was April peach blooms who competes in beauty, May begonia, June rose. Waiting until July when flowers all fade, August red clouds shade the maple mountain. Everyone exclaimed, indeed siblings of talent. He had just been appointed a third-rank scholar, flatterers were not few, now mentioning a sister with both talent and beauty, who wouldn't push the boat with the wind. Right at that moment, Princess Valerie suddenly asked, Lord Xiao, heard that your sister looks very much like our master, is it true? The whole hall suddenly fell silent. The rumors between me and the Xiao siblings were known to everyone, just that no one dared to speak out. The little princesses did not understand taboos, chirping. Your Majesty, we want to see with our own eyes. That is right, Your Majesty, don't you want to see too? The little emperor looked at me, still maintaining moderation. Next time, next time. But the princesses refused, and the onlookers did not want to stop. I gave a faint smile, smoothing my sleeves. Your Majesty, why not summon her here so everyone can see? This, master. I raised my cup to lightly touch the table. Your Majesty, these are all your subjects, there is no master here. No name, no position, no rank, no title. Helena being summoned to a grand banquet was considered an extreme honor. She performed the etiquette very correctly, respectfully sitting to the right of her eldest brother. As soon as she sat down, Princess Valerie exclaimed. Alike, two alike. I cannot distinguish who is the master anymore. Once the princess opened her mouth, others dared to chime in. Truly like a mold. Not only appearance, even the demeanor is, someone else said. Miss Xiao is not inferior at all, her talent also does not lose. Helena gently replied. The Lord's praise too much, this humble girl truly dares not accept. A high official joked. Our country has outstanding talents, intelligent women are countless. Lady Yu here was just lucky to become an official. I was still smiling when she softly continued. Hearing the Lord say so truly makes this humble girl ashamed, daring not compare with Lady Yu. Her voice was humble, but her words made me choke in my chest, no different from saying I was not equal to her. My heart was already unhappy, and the crowd watching the excitement cheered even more. Why doesn't His Majesty issue a topic for the two ladies to compose poetry together? The little emperor was forced to smile bitterly. That is fine. Both are talented women. Sitting by the lake today, why not take water as the topic, each composing one poem? Minister Yu, you go first. I did not pay much attention, casually writing a few lines. Mountain has fairy appearance, water has spiritual deity. Magic power is boundless, arising from sentient beings. I want to draw a sword to cut the water flow, keeping the light boat to travel slowly. The mountain has a fairy's form, water has a spirit, they have boundless magic, yet do not understand the human heart. I want to draw a sword to cut the river flow, knowing it is useless, but still want to stop that boat carrying him away, hoping it slows down just a little. I finished writing, then it was Helena's turn. She curtsied first, her voice light as a breeze. Sun shines on palace willow, harmonious wind slows the rain. Sleeves flutter adding song, graceful misty willow brushes emerald water, bright moon always full but does not see the fish, you. A sentence, graceful misty willow brushes emerald water, bright moon always full but does not see the fish, sounding like an ordinary scenic poem, but the last line borrowed scenery to speak of people. She is the moon hanging high shining on the soft willow by the green water, only not seeing this fish. Calm down, must be calm. The emperor heard it and was indeed a wise person, immediately handing this hot potato to someone else. Minister Zhou, we truly cannot distinguish who is better. You have profound learning. Zhu, who wrote slightly better, put down his wine cup, leisurely saying, Does your majesty want this subject to bring bias or not bring bias? Not bring, is good. I've not bringing bias. He paused for a moment. This humble subject thinks Lady Yu wrote slightly better. He said that, wasn't it implying in his heart he leaned towards that bright moon always full but does not see the fish line. Furious to death, calm calm my head. Your majesty, this subject cannot drink wine, requesting to leave first. Saying that, I did not care about face or losing face, turning to leave the banquet. They would surely criticize me for being afraid, for running away in defeat. I did not care, I did not bother paying attention to anyone's words. Julian, that bastard, what does he mean by not bringing bias, then thinking I wrote better? Bastard. Arriving back at my manor, I searched the rooms but did not see Layla Wei, searched outside but still nothing. Going around to the back of the house, I saw a ladder set up there. I climbed up 2 steps and saw Layla Wei's back. Layla, why climb so high? I was afraid of startling her, so I spoke softly. She turned around. Master, the banquet hasn't ended yet, why are you back already? I climbed another step, bored, so I came back. What are you doing? This servant is thinking about some things, probably the alcohol aiding the gall. You who are usually afraid of heights dare to climb all the way to the roof. Reaching the top, I realized she was sitting on the roof looking towards the imperial palace. Master, the sky is so dark yet that place is bright as day, truly lively, right? Layla. I called her softly. Actually today you also wanted to go, right? She did not answer, only saying, Master, I truly admire you. You have noble status. You can like whoever you want. I comforted her. You are my sister, also a good status. But how can it be the same? Master, the person I like is the emperor. She raised her hand looking at the moon through her fingers, whispering. Do you know, when I was still singing at the Jade Pavilion, many people liked me. Then some left, some married, some liked others, no one came anymore. I was not sad because I did not like them. But just the emperor saying one sentence, fine, not coming is okay, I felt a pain in my heart. She sighed. The person I like wants to abandon me, even if not out of hatred, just not paying attention anymore. I also feel saying that. She forced a smile. Master, the new clothes you prepared I have seen, the flower hairpin I also saw, the longevity cake I ate, red eggs I also ate. Master is truly good, besides you no one remembers my birthday. I had not listened carefully, only holding her hand asking. What did you just say? Said Master is truly good, not the sentence before that. Said I like that person but that person abandons me. Even if not hatred, just not paying attention anymore, I also feel sad. Right. Layla, you are truly smart, while I am stupid as a pig, the stupidest in the world. I chased after the so-called Alm Lifetime one couple, almost destroying it with my own hands. Layla, Master, what is wrong with you? I waved my hand. You go quickly, tell them to prepare a sedan chair. No sedan chair, no horses. Prepare a horse, hurry up. Layla, seeing me like that, did not ask more, hurriedly ran away. I also had to be fast, having just thought it through. If I slept on it, I feared tomorrow morning I would be confused again. I stood up only to discover the roof was too high, easy to go up but hard to go down. Today I was wearing formal attire with high-soled shoes, and I was inherently afraid of heights. Like this, I could not get down. Standing at the peak of the roof, sweat poured out. The alcohol also dissipated, only felt my heart wanting to jump out of my chest. Below was pitch black, seeing nothing, only knowing it was high. I was about to cry. Do not look down. That voice. Julian. Hurry, hurry, I cannot get down. Hearing his voice, I turned my head back, but my legs went soft, almost falling, having to crawl flat on the roof. Do not stand up and do not look down. Lady Yu. See it. Remember which direction the gate we usually exit after court opens. Remember. Face that gate, jump down to me. I dare not, there is a ladder down there. You come up here. Then I am leaving, you just wait for someone else to come pick you up. Julian, have you forgotten? I said, when could I call you Julian? Hearing him so nonchalant, I was about to cry. At this moment, hurry and drop those matters, your life is more important. Didn't I tell you? Jump. If I fall and die, then what? Only heard him burst out laughing. If you die, I will ask the emperor to grant a decree, posthumously conferring you as my wife. I jump. I am really jumping. Having jumped, I realized he did not intend to be a hero saving a beauty at all. There was no holding me and spinning a few rounds like an opera. He just lightly supported me once, then conveniently tossed me aside, just like catching a pig. I intended to scold, "Are you planning to kill me?" Raising my head, I saw it actually wasn't that high. That hateful guy surely had prepared a belly full of sarcastic words to tease me. Like, "Lady Yu is not being an official anymore, planning to escort the holy monk to retrieve scriptures." Or Lady Yu wants to look 1,000 miles further, so sacrificed herself for righteousness. Ah. Look 1,000 miles further, sacrifice oneself for righteousness. Implying Lady Yu climbed so high, isn't it wanting to see far 1,000 miles, intending to sacrifice for a cause. I knew all his bad habits, but he said nothing, only leaving one sentence. "Lady Yu, take care." I hurriedly grabbed his sleeve. "Didn't you come to find me?" "Why leave?" he replied. "It was His Majesty ordering me to come here to find Layla Wei." "Alright, let us assume you did not come to find me, but I have words to say." I took a step forward. "I have thought it through." I gripped his sleeve tightly, calling his name once more. "Julian, I thought it through." He pulled his sleeve back out. "If there is anything, wait until tomorrow. When you are sober, say it." I only drank 1 cup, very sober. "Even if you only drank a drop, I also consider it half drunk." He paused, his voice steady again. "I also dare not risk you changing your mind halfway." "Oh my, you person?" I pulled him hard, dragging him to a nearby room. "You look carefully. Am I very drunk?" he replied. I let go of his sleeve, switching to holding his hand. "So do you believe now?" "I dare not believe." I decisively leaned into his embrace, asking, "Believe now?" "I dare not believe." Lifting my face, I lightly touched his lips once. "Like this you also do not believe?" He sighed softly, looking at me, his voice lowering. "Lady Yu, it is not that I do not believe, but that I dare not believe." Fine, fine. Not understanding where I got the courage, I reached out to untie his belt. "Julian, I made you lose face several times, it is my fault. Now I do not need face anymore." He held my hand back. "Lady Yu, look up and see. What watch is it already? Why are you taking off clothes?" Suddenly I burst into tears, perhaps due to drinking too much water, plus the grievances in my heart these past days. He laughed again. "Look at that, saying not drunk, who would believe?" I wiped my tears and then wiped my nose. "I said I like you, you won't believe it. Tomorrow you won't drink a drop and say it to me again." He gently rubbed my head. "Lady Yu, I waited for you for so many years, you waiting for me for one day, what is wrong with that?" He spoke correctly, but I was inherently a stubborn person, not wanting to wait even for a moment. The little emperor came to find Layla Wei, bringing pastries shaped like flowers, hairy crabs as big as a plate, and sweet fruits presented as tribute from the south. He said, "Today we only ate half a meal to save room to eat another meal with you." Layla Wei did not speak, but joy was clearly visible on her face. The little emperor also gifted her a new set of clothes, embroidered with hidden pear blossoms, even more beautiful than the set I once gave her. Layla Wei intended to kneel to thank him, but the emperor said, "This is not a reward but a gift. Today is our birthday, also yours. Birthdays are the biggest, today you and we are equally noble." Up to here it was still good. But a while later, I was sitting out in the wind when suddenly I saw the little emperor storming out. "Your Majesty, what happened?" He flicked his sleeve, speaking angrily, truly knowing the person and the face but not knowing the heart. "Master, your sister is truly formidable." Turns out they argued. I could not stop the emperor, only having time to say, "You called Lord Zhou to come along, might as well leave with him." Who called whom was because the master got angry and left, so he chased after. The emperor waved his hand. "Master, we are currently angry, cannot manage anyone else's business." He left. I opened the room door, seeing Layla Wei burying her face on the table crying, asking but she would not answer. I no longer have the mind to question, my heart is now like overgrown grass, like a soul lost. The biggest joke in the state of Lu, not only divorced on the day of entering the door, but also running to knock on a bachelor's door in the middle of the night. "Lady Yu, my master has already rested. If there is any matter please say it tomorrow." I stepped back 1 step, sitting down on the threshold. "Then I will wait here." A while later, the door opened. I turned back to look. It was not Julian but a maid bringing out a cloak. "Lady Yu, my master said the night is cold, you should drape this cloak temporarily." "Does he intend to let me wait like this?" "No. The master said you should go back to rest first." "I am not going back." After another while, the door opened again. This time it was truly him. "Who spoiled Fiona you to this extent?" he asked, then answered himself. "Fine, who else? I spoiled you." I intended to open my mouth but my nose suddenly ran, it was truly too cold. He could not hold it in, bursting into laughter, taking a handkerchief from his chest. Blow hard. Blow again. Am I a person who values face all her life like you? What are you doing here? Saying that, he turned to walk inside, conveniently throwing the handkerchief away. Walking a few steps, he turned back. Why are you standing there dazed, planning to learn from Li Shimin standing in the snow? I still stood there stupidly, so he turned back to grab my hand, perhaps finding it cold so he tucked it under his arm. Speak, what do you want to say? I like you. No head no tail, truly sudden, just suddenly understood. Harrison wrote me a divorce letter, I felt no pain, but you ignoring me, I felt uncomfortable. He treated Helena well, although angry I was not heartbroken, but you saying her poetry was good, I was both angry and heartbroken. He interrupted. I never said her poetry was good. Didn't you say it? You said if judging fairly, I wrote slightly better, meaning in your heart you found she wrote better. Lady you only listened to half a sentence then left, afterwards imagining the rest yourself, and even pinning it all on my head. He paused a bit then continued. I said if not bringing bias, you wrote slightly better, but if bringing bias then you wrote truly divinely, the brushwork penetrating the human heart. As for that woman, it was just empty words, tasteless as plain water, no different from trash. I looked up. Did you really say that? Is it not that at that time she cried on the spot? Harrison glared at me, almost killing me with his eyes. I sighed. I also do not want you to make enemies with them because of me, he said. I and you will never hold power in this lifetime. What is there to fear about making enemies? I just honestly hate the type of person who writes poetry to mock others, thinking I cannot hear it. Saying that, he glanced at me once. And you were also provoked by her into madness, almost doing something you should not do. I coughed lightly. Ignore it. The Emperor and Layla Wei argued, I still do not know the reason, must go back to ask. He laughed. No wonder people say a woman's heart is most poisonous. You were here clinging to me like fire burning oil, now pouring out all your heart, feeling relieved then planning to leave. I admitted it so I did not pretend. If you do not want to let go, I will not leave. Really? I smiled and nodded slightly. You said it before, men are not Buddha statues, enduring for so many years also has a reason. Not Buddha statues nor wild beasts. He did not keep me, only saying the night was late, inconvenient to see me off, walk carefully. I laughed softly, poking his shoulder. That is right, I am this beautiful, must be careful. He huffed lightly. You crying just now looked truly ugly. In this dark night be careful lest others think you are a ghost and catch you. Didn't you once praise me as beautiful? He burst out laughing. Little fish, your memory is also truly good, mouth saying do not care, but heart happy as if picking up gold. Seeing I was in a hurry, he said nothing more, only clapping his hands then spreading his arms wide, looking like he wanted me to rush into his embrace. Oh, I was inherently thin-skinned, only reluctantly complying to hug him once. That night the wind was strong, if I did not hug, I fear I could even stand steady. When I returned, Layla Wei had stopped crying. Only when I asked her what exactly happened, she refused to say. The next day after court, I intended to ask the Emperor, but was blocked by Harrison. Does the Lord have business? I asked. He said, Fiona, the weather is sweltering, do not talk here, how about going to drink a cup of the sour plum juice you like best? I tilted my head and stretched my neck. If there is no business, please make way. Fiona. He blocked me again, looking straight into my eyes. The sentence you wrote yesterday, amidst a myriad of distant stars I still see fire, shining bright but you do not see me. I understood. In my heart I found it funny, immediately laughing out loud. What did you understand? He said. Your heart is like the starry sky. Having seen fireworks also seeing you, I sighed. Harrison, I am not free to recite poetry with you. He persisted. Fiona, how can my heart not have you? I intended to leave, but turned back to glance at him. Harrison, you are quite sick, invite a doctor to examine you. If you truly understood those 2 lines, you would not have said such ridiculous words. Do not put gold on your face, not half a word in there relates to you. He said again. Fiona, I know you value face. I exhaled softly. Harrison, let me tell you the truth. I used to think I valued face, but later understood it is not that I love face, but that you are not worth me keeping that face. He still intended to say more. I waved my hand. Harrison, I truly have urgent business, I beg an audience with the little Emperor. Initially he refused to meet, later changed his mind. I asked last night what exactly happened with Layla Wei. He asked back, Master, where did you adopt this sister? What did she do before? Hearing him ask that, I guessed part of it. So replied. She was originally a singer at the Jade Pavilion. Unexpectedly the little emperor huffed coldly. Is it a singer at a wine house or a prostitute in a brothel? I frowned. Did your majesty also ask Layla Wei the same words? Should we not have asked? He took a deep breath looking at me. Master, the person beside you should not be that kind of person. I laughed softly asking back. Then your majesty say, what kind of person is Layla Wei? This one sentence made everything clear. Yesterday was the birthday of both, meeting at my place in the evening. The emperor gave her a new set of clothes, then hoped she would also gift him something. What did Layla Wei know to give? The emperor then half-jokingly asked her to sing a song to please him. Layla Wei only knew how to sing one song taught by the son of the great general. As soon as she raised her voice, the emperor hearing it changed his expression. He questioned the details, and Layla Wei did not want to hide. Both were honest. Both carried a bit of pride, being young, so they argued. Saying argued, actually it was only because the emperor was used to being arrogant, saying a few harsh words making her unable to step down. Layla Wei replied. This servant is inherently like that, relying on these vulgar things to live for so many years. Your majesty wants to hear high-class music, the sound of zithers and flutes, why come to this place? The emperor said she was a woman, did she not know shame? Layla Wei replied. This servant feeds herself, never begging anyone, why feel ashamed? If your majesty was born in a poor family like this servant, I fear you would also have to rely on this singing voice to live. The emperor 1,000 times should not have, 10,000 times should not have pushed her down. Having used force was like water spilled on dry ground, hard to take back. Layla Wei cried on the spot, the emperor left in a huff, both carry an uneasiness in their hearts. Hearing that, I sat down beside him, gently squeezing his shoulder. Theo, remember when you were small, Master Zhou once taught you, being an emperor is not necessarily the happiest thing in the world. He turned to look at me, nodding. I asked again. Then do you remember what I said at that time? He looked down at the tip of his shoes, slowly saying, also not necessarily the hardest thing in the world. I patted his back lightly. Born in the imperial family, everyone says being a king is hard. What is hard? Just because of the heavy burden on the shoulders. But Theo, who does not carry their own burden, the emperor looked at me, saying softly. But master, even if suffering, one should know what should be done and what should not, right? Hearing that I laughed. Listening it sounds like Layla Wei committed a heinous crime. Your majesty, you call me master because of my position, but this position is not easy to sit in, how miserable it is I have tasted enough. I looked up thinking for a while then spoke slowly. You also know I disguised as a man to take the exam, seizing merit, but the world is not blind. That year at the provincial exam, I was recognized as a woman. At that time the examiner was the local prefect, getting so angry his face turned purple, almost executing me in the middle of the street. Finally it was Harrison who saved me, saying I was his book boy, only looking like a girl because I was thin and weak. If not for him, I would have long been a prisoner, unable to step into the palace exam. When it came to the court exam, Julian recognized I was a woman at first glance. Your Majesty, do you know what the crime of deceiving the sovereign is? It is a crime of beheading. I smiled looking at him asking, but you say, did I commit a heinous crime? No, I was just a woman wanting to read books, wanting to do righteous deeds, yet it became a big mistake. If not for Harrison helping, not for Julian recommending, not for the late emperor's tolerance, I would have long been a wandering soul. How could I hear you call me master today? The little emperor nodded slightly, then shook his head slightly. Master, we seem to understand, yet seem not to understand. Your Majesty, I say the world is not only you suffering, only you being wronged. You are the king, the master of 10,000 people, even more must worry for the world. People suffer you must pity, let alone the person you love. Why scold? Feeling justified again, the emperor unconvinced asked. So it is all our fault. Is Layla Wei completely innocent? Fault, naturally she has. I paused a moment then continued. She was wrong in that, she should not have been born in poverty, even more should not have dared to oppose you because of poverty. Who are you? You are the supreme ruler, majestic in the world, how can you let a little girl be so rude? The emperor blinked saying, Master, hearing it sounds like you are blaming her, but actually still blaming we. Himph, master, we did not despise her lowly origin. Wei Zifu was also just a dancer, did she not finally become Empress of Han Wu? I looked at him for a long time asking softly. So your Majesty, what was the ending of Wei Zifu? He was silent. I ask again. Do you want Layla Wei to also become a Wei Zifu? The little emperor lowered his head, fingers tracing the dragon pattern on his clothes, a while later looking up. Master, can we rest my head on your lap for a moment like when small? Cannot. Just a little while. Cannot. Your Majesty, you have grown up, must understand, growing up is learning how to endure and see through life. 2 days later, the little emperor came to my manor, holding a newly sprouted willow branch in his hand. Just meeting Layla Wei, he smiled radiantly, saying he came to strip off armor to apologize. Layla Wei glanced at him once, saying this servant could not accept. He immediately threw the willow branch, pulling her back, laughing and saying, "Acceptable, acceptable, in this world only you can accept." Layla Wei flicked her hand. Unexpectedly the emperor cried out "Och," falling backward dramatically. She was stunned, I was also stunned, only the emperor was the quickest-witted, grinning. "Look, you pushed we falling on all fours, we generously do not blame so we are even." Layla Wei pursed her lips, smiling softly. Caught by the emperor, he immediately said, "Already laughed so cannot be angry anymore." Layla Wei did not speak, only looking up at him, nodding lightly. The little emperor laughed brightly like spring sunshine, asking again. "Master likes the garden, the arrangement here is very beautiful, can you take we for a walk around?" Layla Wei did not give face, exposing him. "This servant only arrived less than half a month ago. I fear you are more familiar with this place than this servant." The little emperor rolled his eyes, asking her again. "Then let we lead you for a walk around. Is that okay?" When I went out, the two were sitting by the lake, shoulders touching, not sure what they were saying. Naturally I was not stupid enough to run over to disturb, keeping the emperor in the manor, while Julian was waiting for me at the side door. The moon hung over the willow tip, meeting after dusk. Indeed there are some matters, when not experienced only feel bitter, when tasting it oneself only know how sweet it is inside. Meeting him, I told him the story of Harrison blocking my way, originally intending to tell it as a joke for fun. Unexpectedly hearing it he reached out to pinch my cheek. "Knowing you are loved by everyone, do not put on that smug face." I swatted his hand away, rolling my eyes. "Now he knows I am good, Lord Joe, aren't you afraid I will change my mind?" Julian huffed softly. Who would regret throwing away a lump of dirt to pick up a gold bar? Oh, isn't this praising himself as a gold bar? I did not consider him gold or silver, just too lazy to argue. After that I told more about the emperor and Layla Wei. He listened very patiently, then suddenly asked, "Little fish, talking about so many other people's stories, when will you talk about our story?" I looked at him. "We are now of one mind, what else is there to say?" He said again, "I want to marry you as my wife, just need you to nod." I waved my hand. "Stop it, I have held the divorce letter for less than a month, now you come to propose, doesn't it make the world laugh at you?" He just looked at me saying nothing. I was softened by that look, having to sigh. "I did not say I would not marry, just wanna wait a bit more," he said again. "Little fish, you liking me is not equal to me liking you." I asked why say so. The corner of his lips curved slightly, using the fan to tap lightly on my head. "If not, why aren't you anxious like me?" I shook my head slightly. "I just want to be cautious." He asked back, "Who isn't cautious? It is just that I find you too good. One day you do not belong to me, I am uneasy for one day." I shrugged, crossing my arms looking at him. "Truly cheesy." He burst out laughing. "Even that you criticize." I tried to restrain myself already. "Restrain more, otherwise I will get sick of it." I laughed looking at him, being teased by him so much. I was used to it. He looked at me suddenly saying without head or tail, "Miss Xiao asked someone to message me telling me to meet her later." Provoking me. "Stop it," I punched him lightly. "Want to go then go." Saying it to scare who? He laughed softly. "I already have you, why go meet someone else? Only afraid you heard it from someone else's mouth and thought nonsense." I did not. I am very generous. Saying that, then thinking about it, could not help pulling him back. "No, come into the house with me. I am afraid you actually go meet her." He burst out laughing. "Later it will be dark, you dragging a man into the door. Not afraid of people seeing. Let them see, better so I can say you were forced by me." He laughed again. "Little fish, this straightforward appearance of yours I find most adorable." I dragged him past the lake, just coincidentally meeting the emperor and Layla Wei, still sitting there throwing stones into the water, not knowing if mosquitoes were biting or not. I just lifted my foot to leave, suddenly hearing the emperor say, "The most precious thing we can give you is not love but the right to choose." Stepping into that high palace or not, the emperor does not order but lets Layla Wei choose herself. That sentence was truly moving, but I knew it was Julian who taught him to say it. This sentence was originally what he once said to me when I wanted to marry Harrison. He advised against it but failed, having to say, "Little fish, the thing I wanted to give you from beginning to end was not just love but the right to choose. Now you have that right, still choosing him. I also do not stop, only ask you to promise me one thing." I asked what thing. He said, "Just need to suffer half a part of grievance, leave immediately." He also said, "The person whom I, Julian, lowered myself to beg but could not keep, if suffering injustice elsewhere, isn't it humiliating me? Harrison treated me like that, close to Helena not just for a day or two, but on the day I married him." I suddenly remembered Julian's words. In a moment of emotion, I wrote the divorce letter, personally cutting off years of feelings. He was right, the most precious thing he gave me was making me understand I also deserve to be chosen. Now the emperor also gave Layla the choice. She to him is also precious, precisely because precious so cannot be treated like an object in hand. I and Julian quietly walked past them, to a place with no people. He suddenly asked, "Little fish, do you want to visit that old couple? That couple we have not seen for a long time." The late emperor and the empress dowager tied the knot since youth, deep feelings and heavy righteousness. Although on the outside they died early, in reality they were still alive, hiding in the peach blossom spring, living a secluded fairy life. To the empress dowager, the late emperor was a peerless husband, asking in the world, which woman does not want someone to abandon the whole country for her sake in a fit of anger for the beauty? But the late emperor was not a wise ruler. He was ashamed before the officials, failed the people, and even more was not a good father. What he left for Theo was only cold power, heavy burdens, and boundless loneliness. Julian once said, "Choice is a rare thing like phoenix feathers and unicorn horns. Someone gains, inevitably someone must lose." He gave me the right to choose, while he could only wait. The late emperor and the empress dowager kept the choice for themselves, so Theo had to bear not being chosen. I and Julian sat in the small house, looking at them, one starting a fire, one making tea, heart suddenly filled with indescribable emotions. "Theo already has someone in his heart," I said. The two looked at each other, the empress dowager wiping her hands on her apron. "He is also 15 now, right?" In a flash so many years have passed, Julian replied. "Theo is intelligent and calm. The girl he chose is also very adorable. You two can be at ease. With you two assisting, we were inherently at ease." The late emperor put some tea into the cup, poured more hot water then asked me, "Heard you were abandoned by the person in your heart." "It was me who abandoned him," I replied. He nodded slightly. "Fiona, I know what kind of person you are. How can you be a woman who comes when she wants, leaves when she wants?" If truly so, that year even if Julian put all his effort to recommend, I would absolutely not let you stay in the court. I burst out laughing. "So turns out you also did not completely believe in Lord Joe's judgment of people." He huffed lightly, although only wearing coarse cloth still could not hide the noble demeanor. "He recommended you for the sake of the country. Clearly it was because he had his eyes on you, wanting to be near you to compete for favor." Julian said softly, "For the country also yes, for being near her also yes." Then looking at me, gentle voice, "Little fish taught Theo very well. He will be a wise ruler." The late emperor put down the teacup, sighing. "Right, Theo will be a good king, but I am not." No one retorted, because indeed he was not. He understood the helplessness of the emperor's fate even more, so he decisively left 5-year-old Theo and 4 princesses still in swaddling clothes, taking the person he loved most to grow old and die together, hiding from the world. The first time I met Theo, he was only 3 years old, a child who cried extremely often. When he was 5, that night coming out of his mother's palace, I saw him cry the last time in his life. From then on, throughout 10 long years, in front of others, he never shed another tear. Once he contracted smallpox, I came to visit. As soon as he opened his eyes, he threw himself into my arms, calling not master, but mother. But he still did not shed a single tear. He clutched the hem of my robe at my waist, sighing softly. "This disease is contagious, will this son survive? I know you are not her, but please do not say you are not." I reached out to stroke his hair, touching cold sweat all over, looking down to see he had already fallen asleep. That day Julian was even angry with me, saying, "Do you not know smallpox is contagious? Do you think yourself an Arhat Bodhisattva with an indestructible body?" I did not bother to reply. "Because you the past few nights he also stayed up guarding Theo until midnight, yet dared to scold me." Truth be told, saying Theo was raised by Julian is not wrong either. As far as I know, when he was small he stayed at the Grand Preceptor's manor even more than at the imperial palace. The story between that father and son pair, if told, would be quite interesting. Only pity that the couple did not have the fortune to see it, not sure if under the yellow springs they feel regret. The late emperor once said, since he was small he never understood why there is the principle that a woman without talent is virtuous. Why do people consider someone who can tolerate a man having 3 wives and 4 concubines as virtuous? Why can women not be officials, not teach, not divorce husbands? Why are women born to be inferior to men by 1 rank? Whose principle is that anyway? He told me. We are an incompetent person, only knowing how to cherish Grand Tutor Fiona you alone. Only able to do one thing is to keep the master until white hair does not leave, 1 heart for a lifetime. Theo is very much like the late emperor, only much braver. Last year he once said he wanted to open a school for girls, establishing the imperial examination system for women, setting up female official positions. In the court naturally not everyone agreed, me being the Grand Tutor alone was already provoking authority. But I believed in him. Theo would definitely step forward strongly, opening up the future. When I returned to the capital, it was already night. There were 2 things I did not expect. One was that Theo had told Layla Wei all about his background. 2 was that Helena was still waiting for Julian. Theo's matter could be put aside for now, because I always thought my own business was more important. Helena waited for him, while I stood aside as collateral damage. The night breeze was gentle, she stood so long her legs went numb, just to say a bitter sentence. There are trees on the mountain, trees have branches. My heart is towards you, you do not know. She almost wrote the 3 words Julian right on her face, who could not see. Julian listened to it all without saying a word. I leaned against a nearby tree, still curious whether he would pretend to be deaf or respond leisurely. Only saw him calm, showing no expression as he asked, knowing it does one have to accept? Helena was stunned. He said again, still do not understand my meaning. Miss Xiao, I do not like you. I truly worry you will cry until the city walls on both sides collapse. Lord Zhou, why must you repeatedly hurt the face of a girl like me? You offered your face first, surely you must know there would be a day someone brushed it aside. My lady Yu is also a woman. When you stood in front of the door mocking her, you showed no respect at all. If not for the fact that you are stupid and cannot out-argue her, were it someone else, I fear they would truly be scared by you. He glanced at her once, then spoke leisurely. In my eyes there is no distinction between man or woman, noble or lowly, only like or dislike, want to indulge or not. The person I dislike, even if a virtuous lady, I will chase straight out the door. The person I like, even if a demon king, I will let her do whatever she wants. Hearing the 2 words, my lady Yu, I involuntarily shuddered with goosebumps all over. Helena was spoken to until her face turned pale, her voice trembling. You like Lady Yu, but Lady Yu is the person my brother divorced. You are a 1st-rank official, why lower yourself to marry a discarded woman? Fiona, look. He suddenly called me, waiting for me to step up a few steps, then smiled and said, see what? The Arch of Honor knows how to speak. I burst out laughing, unconsciously raising my hand to hit him once. Julian continued. Lady Yu is now the current Grand Tutor, 1st rank. If discussing matching family status, she and I are truly a match made in heaven. I abandoning her to choose you, that would be lowering myself. Helena cried until her whole body trembled, stomping her foot. Discussing appearance, discussing talent, where am I inferior to her? Not to mention you lose to me in everything. I am tired of hearing it. I leisurely spoke up. You still do not understand. Those things you call appearance, talent, and etiquette, only you care about them. Neither of us bothers to care. I glanced at her and continued. Helena, I am different from you. I have never been afraid of the world laughing. If I were afraid, I would not have married Harrison. If I were afraid, I would not have personally asked for a divorce letter. If I were afraid, I would not have dared to admit I like this person. I took a step forward, looking at the face somewhat similar to mine, speaking plainly. Now Lord Zhou and I are of one mind, both willing. What are you to dare stand here pointing fingers? You. She had not yet cried out loud when from afar someone came running. It was Harrison coming to find his treasure. Found you. He did not ask anything, opening his mouth to scold me immediately. Why does the grudge between me and you involve Helena? But Helena seemed to have found her role, bursting into pitiful wails. A family of fools, truly like father like son. I shook my head, pulled Julian's sleeve, tiptoed closer to whisper. How do you find my eyes? Brilliant as starry skies. Really? Before they were blind? He laughed lightly, asking. When did they heal? I tilted my head, thinking for a moment. Probably since seeing you. Helena let out a wail so sorrowful it pierced the heart. The next morning, the night watchman at the Xiao Manor asked, whose house had a cat caterwauling non-stop last night? Julian provoked Helena to tears. Harrison was also angry by association, but he did not find Julian, instead coming to find me. I sent people to chase him away several times, saying I had business and could not meet. He still stubbornly stood outside the door. Master, what is the matter? I asked. Fiona, I know you are with Julian just to provoke me, he said, then rushed over. I laughed at him. I burst out laughing, glancing at him. Harrison, are you crazy? Are you sick? He blushed, asking. Fiona, for so many years you liked me, do I not know? As soon as those words left his mouth, I just wanted to kick him once. Since you knew, why were you cold to me for so many years, waiting for the emperor to issue a decree before reluctantly marrying me? I looked at him and continued. Harrison, tell the truth, you have not a bit of backbone of a scholar. If you truly liked me, we would have been married for many years now. If you did not like me, you should have said clearly early on. Do not wait for the imperial decree to force you, making me look like someone forcing you. He was rendered speechless by me, only able to sigh. Harrison, I used to like you. That year at the provincial exam, you helped me, even saying you hoped I would pass. At that time I had feelings for you. Later you said your family had a younger sister, whose poetry was a few parts better than yours, only pity she was a woman, unable to take the exam. At that time I did not understand. Only when meeting did I know you helped me simply because you wanted to replace your sister to seize merit. I paused a bit, then continued. But I did not mind. After I passed the provincial exam, countless people came to propose. The late emperor worried for me. The emperor also wanted to choose a husband for me. Julian with noble status expressed his feelings many times. I rejected them all. Harrison, I still waited for you, he said. Fiona, that is why I said, I will marry you. I smiled and shook my head slightly. You are crazy, Harrison. You do not see clearly who I am, thinking I am Lu Lanji, and you are Xiao Zhongking. My love is like woven silk, your love is like a rock. Silk, although soft, rock does not move. Too late, Harrison. Now it is me who does not want it anymore. Not sure where he got such thick skin, daring to preach wrong principles to me. Saying if it is true love, one must be steadfast and unchanging. I did not bother to argue, only nodding. Yeah, inherently with you is not true love. He still dared to laugh coldly. Just because of that laugh, I looked at him coldly. What are you laughing at? He did not answer. I asked again. Laughing at what? Harrison, you took the exam for 12 years. Was it really because your talent was insufficient? The first year Helena said she had a stomach ache. The second year she said she had a fever. Every year you planned to go to the capital, she created a scene. Until later she did not even bother finding a reason anymore. Just crying a fit, you immediately obediently stayed. You indulged her to that extent. Is it possible you did not know I was waiting in the capital? Harrison, I met you at 16, now I am 28. Do you still not let me see through? He opened his mouth, veins on his neck bulging, arguing back. Helena and I are biological siblings. You are narrow-minded, jealous of my sister, truly unreasonable. Does she accept me? All men in the world must revolve around her. Whoever she likes or dislikes, no one escapes. Any woman becomes an enemy in her heart. Harrison, she is your sister, not my sister, even more not my ancestor. You like that kind of person, want to spoil her, go ahead, but do not torment me. I will also find someone who knows how to spoil me. That day I said so many words to him, actually still not angry. The time I truly got angry was when he said, Fiona, I do not hold a grudge for the words you just said, nor do I dislike you because of the matter between you and Lord Joe. I pointed at his face and scolded. Is it your turn to hold a grudge against me? Is it your turn to dislike me? Bad luck making me nauseous. Get lost. He indeed got lost very quickly, leaving me full of anger. Standing in the courtyard facing the night wind, anger still not dissipating. I wanted to meet him. Before, every time I was angry, having troubles, he would drag me to eat and drink, teasing me a few sentences and the anger would be gone. I truly wanted to meet him. Just thinking that, when I woke up, I was already standing in front of his manor. Where is your master? I asked the boy guarding the door. The master went out. Ah, lady, you didn't you go with the master? Went with me. Dead, it is already dark. Surely he mistook the person. Julian went with Helena. Blood rushed to my head. How long have they been gone? About an hour. Master, it is cold outside. Please come in and wait. No, I will wait here. Wait for him to return. I will punch him once, kick him once, then bite him once. That bastard deserves to be single for years. Waited forever. Waited until yawning repeatedly, finally saw him return. He stood not far away, hands hanging down, head tilted, smiling at me. Little fish. What is the meaning of you liking to come find me in the middle of the night? Hearing his voice, I turned back to meet his gaze. He clapped his hands, opening his arms wide, spreading a soft net, just waiting for me to crawl in myself. Every silk thread in that net was woven for me. He is the net setter, I am his fish. I punched him once. My hand caught by him. I kicked him once, pulled closer by him. Finally intended to bite him but got busy doing something else. I wanted to ask what he did going with Helena, but he did not let me ask. Every time I opened my mouth, he lightly touched my lips. I was dizzy, could not ask anything anymore. Is he truly a long-time bachelor? Where did he learn this trick? Finally he just said, "Little fish, rest assured, she will no longer cause trouble for you." I huffed lightly. I would rather let her cause trouble forever than let you go meet her. He laughed. Then marry me. I become a married man. She also dares not seek me anymore. He calculated truly well, the abacus ringing like a drum. He said again, "Little fish who calculates better than whom? You tied me tight. I want to marry you, you refuse. Is it possible I have to suffer a loss?" Hearing him mention this matter, I sighed softly, looking at him for a moment, then whispering in his ear, "Today I am not going back." "Huh! What did you say? You are not at ease, I will make you at ease." I laughed softly, voice mixed with a bit of teasing. "Do not pity me. After tonight I fear there won't be a chance." He used his index finger to lightly scratch my cheek. 12 years, you still speak without restraint, knowing no shame." I nodded. I am not afraid of the world laughing. He laughed, eyes carrying a bit of grievance. "Little fish, you look down on me. What does that mean? You refuse to marry me, afraid people will laugh at me. You are not afraid, why think I would be afraid? Little fish, marrying you is my day and night dream, nothing shameful. Who dares laugh at us? It should be us laughing at them. We are the happiest people in the world, standing watching the hypocritical world and laughing." Listening to him, my face felt hot, eyes stinging. Usually tough like me, yet softened, speaking gently. "Hearing people say you went with her, I truly panicked." He laughed softly, resting his forehead against mine. "Panicking is good. All this time only I was afraid." I was teased to laughter by him, pretending to be fierce. "Are you pettily taking revenge on me?" "Not revenge." He patted my back. "From now on I will not do anything to make you panic." He intended to send me back. I did not want to leave, so made an excuse of cold hands and feet, demanding to go in for tea. He laughingly scolded me as a kitten knowing how to climb the stove but still led me in. "Finish this cup of tea then go back. Why chasing people away? Silly, I am afraid of damaging your reputation." That cup of tea I drank very slowly, asking for more hot water several times. He sat opposite silently watching me smile. "Julian, I want you to open your mouth to keep me." He shook his head helplessly. "Keep how? Just need to say do not let me go." He looked at me for a long time, voice hoarse. "I do not want you to go. So I have an excuse." Again leaning into his embrace, clinging to him, not letting go. I was overjoyed, ignoring whether he could bear it or not. Master, this servant forgot something in the room." A little maid rushed in hastily, seeing us close together, froze, then blushed, covering her eyes. "Master, this servant dropped a bracelet, probably in here." Julian half laughed, half scolded. "Get out, tomorrow we'll distribute some silver to buy a new one." The girl joyfully hopped, intending to leave, but at the door frowned at the door frame, asking, "Master, should chase the door guards away. This door has poor soundproofing." "Go," he shouted. Waiting for the little maid to leave, again lowered his head to ask me, voice small, "Lady, you, should we chase the door guards away?" My heart beat thump thump, never experienced this scene. Seeing him about to truly take action, I had to pretend to be calm, changing the subject. "What is that girl's name?" "Nina," he replied, eyes still glued to me. "Oh, which Nina?" I awkwardly avoided his eyes but could not avoid. He lifted my chin, forcing me to look straight into his eyes, whispering, "It is the Nina like me and you here. Peaceful and quiet, Ning Nina." Looking at each other, not leaving. Looking at him. My heart was both panicked and peaceful. He held my hand. I turned my wrist, using my index finger to write a character in his palm, asking softly, "Is it this character?" He refused to lose, holding my wrist tight, hand following the sleeve, stroking along the inner arm, voice hoarse. "Yeah, that character. Ning and Ning Yi, skin smooth as jade." He is truly too formidable, can call wind and rain in my heart, on my body lighting fire fanning wind. I brought disaster upon myself, wanting to hide but could not hide. You are truly slippery as a fish. Do not speak nonsense. Eyes open, lamp still bright, how called speaking nonsense? He reached behind my head, untying the hair bun, gently stroking each strand, voice gentle. Little fish, are you afraid? I opened my eyes, not answering, only lifting my head to lightly kiss him once. Immediately after, he covered my eyes. I fell into a very long dream, as if seeing a great tree rooting deep in the moist mud of spring day, sometimes even touching heavy ripe fruits, full of sweet sap. Woke up then, get up quickly. I opened my eyes, he was already dressed neatly, sitting on the edge of the bed looking at me. I have written the memorial, requesting the emperor to issue a decree, approving the matter of me and you. I stretched lazily. Little Theo surely will be scared to death. The one scared to death should be you. He slowly glanced at me then added. The emperor arrived, knowing you stayed here, is waiting for you to dress and come out to meet. I jumped up, no different from Julian's words, like a dying patient sitting up in shock. I have big guts but your guts are bigger. Matter not yet official like this, you do not bother avoiding, nor afraid of the sky dropping a pot on your head. Theo sat straight in the middle of the hall, young but carrying a solemn look. I find it strange. Julian is a hooligan, I am a scoundrel, Thomas Song is a fool. 3 good-for-nothings like that, how did they teach such a steady child? In the hall were 4 people: Theo, Julian, me, and Thomas Song. Looking at the situation knew this was discussing big business, moreover confidential business. Waiting for everyone to sit down, Theo glanced at me, opening. A few days ago, the king of the state of Sui personally came to the court, offering tribute, also bringing a prince and a princess. This matter you ministers are all clear about, Thomas Song said. State of Sui clearly wants to form a marriage alliance with our country. The little emperor shook his head slightly. If it were that simple, we would not need to summon you ministers. It is just that therein lies a variable. Julian laughed softly. What variable? Is it possible your little pair has changed? I pondered then said, the princesses are all newly 10 years old, female relatives in the imperial clan also no one suitable in age. Is it the king of Sui wants to offer a woman to your majesty but you do not agree? The emperor shook his head again. Not our variable but yours. My variable. The prince of Sui is only 12 or 13, is it possible he took a fancy to this subject? I burst out laughing, finishing laughing felt inappropriate, hurriedly stood up. Before I could ask, Julian was quicker. The king of Sui took a fancy to my fish. Theo glanced at him, saying calmly, do you really think in the world only you know how to spot good things? This child is truly sharp, seeing through the matter between me and him early on. Not urgent is not that matter. Your majesty did not say the day I married I was divorced immediately. Why not say? But people do not care. Theo looked at me again saying, the king of Sui said last night strolling the street accidentally met you, just one glance and toppled the city, toppled the country, all etiquette rules thrown to the back of the head. I hurriedly asked, already just a glance, how know it is me? Theo slowly took a portrait from his sleeve. He said he remembers faces unforgettably, even drew it again. You look and see who it is. Indeed it was me. No matter who looked would recognize it as me. Theo collected the painting, saying again, Master, the king of Sui has a handsome appearance. If he chose anyone else, we would agree. But he chose you, we had to discuss with you. But now looking at it, no need to discuss anymore. Rice has been cooked into rice, what more to discuss? Julian remained silent. I was a bit embarrassed, coughed lightly once. You are also sharp-eyed. Theo huffed lightly, not answering. Conversely, Thomas Song turned back to ask me, Yana, does this matter still need sharp eyes? Do you think we are all stupid? I was stunned. Emph. He raised his hand pointing at Julian. Initially he liked you, you liked Harrison. Harrison liked Helena, the one looking exactly like you. And Helena liked Julian. A tangled mess for 12 years, he cleared it up in just a few sentences. Later you married Harrison. Thinking back felt wrong, regret made Julian unable to sleep at midnight, closing the door laughing haha. The next day still came to my house to retell, saying indeed it is little fish, refusing to suffer half a part of grievance. Theo continued. Also told we, saying Harrison saw the master Enel and elegant, intended to bully, unexpectedly she has a temper like fire. Listening felt extremely refreshing, adorable to the extreme. Thomas Song continued. Every time he came to drink at my house, repeatedly talking only about your story, hearing until my wife also gave birth to a talented son. When my wife was pregnant, I even chased him back once, but chasing was useless. A few days later he came again. He did not see I was blushing enough to want to crawl into the ground, still talking non-stop. My wife said you surely have an illness. Every day eating, drinking, joking, arguing with him, if not liking him then what is it? Keep refusing, isn't there a problem with the brain? Indeed, when he ignored you, only then did you understand your heart. Adding the incident Helena provoked at the banquet, you two immediately became a couple. You still thought we didn't know. Separately me and my wife discussed, Julian suffered for 12 years, finally cultivated to a positive result, intending to chip in congratulatory silver here. Finally he knocked on the table, saying a sentence like a conclusion. I once told my wife, for so many years who has he ever been tolerant with like that? Besides Fiona no one else. And Fiona with a temper swinging hands to hit, opening mouth to scold. Who can bear it? Who can bear it besides Julian no one else? I guessed my face was now red as fire, so frantically turned to call. Say something. He still did not reply nor move. Theo advised. Master, do not worry too much. The King of Sui is unilaterally infatuated, useless. This matter we can still decide. Julian remained silent for a very long time before looking up at me saying, Not you. What? Not me. The person in the painting is not you. He took the painting back from Theo, spreading it out. Little fish, look at this mole. It is the tear mole at the corner of my eye. You look carefully, in the painting is a red mole. Is it not still so? Mine is also a red mole. No. I suddenly woke up. This mole I always found too vivid, so sometimes intentionally dotted it black. He looked at me, voice deep. The person in the painting is Helena. I shook my head. But hers is a black mole, not red. She made an appointment to meet me, inherently having a scheme, so dotted cinnabar on that mole, pretending to be you, he said. If the King of Sui says the person he met last night was you with a red mole, then that person is Helena. Only the black mole is you. Theo heard and clicked his tongue. Master, this painting is truly blurry, I fear only you can distinguish. Thomas Song slapped his thigh. Your Majesty, if it is not Fiona then what is there to discuss? Theo asked. Minister Song has urgent business. Wanting to excuse myself. Reporting to your Majesty, this subject accidentally broke the wife's favorite powder box. She is angry, so planning to go back to apologize, conveniently buying a new box. Theo nodded. No wonder you keep sighing, making our head ache. Julian intervened. Husband and wife arguing, fighting at the head of the bed, making peace at the end of the bed. Even have 2 children already. Could it be you still do not understand that principle? No one answered. Only Theo smiled faintly. Fighting at the head of the bed, making peace at the end of the bed. Do you think everyone is easy to coax like your person? Hemph. That little brat truly deserves a beating. Theo said I was easy to coax. Actually, I was not easy to coax at all. That day after everyone dispersed, I alone asked Julian. If truly the King of Sui set his eyes on me, what do you plan to do? He replied. What else can be done? If truly you, I will advise the Emperor to level the state of Sui, destroying the King of Sui. I laughed softly then said. The Emperor has a cautious nature, firm opinion. You with 2 or 3 words I fear difficult to deceive. He said indifferently. Judging by the matter. If it involves you, I would rather be a traitor official once, also making the Emperor try playing a foolish ruler. Saying that, he asked me again. Little fish, if truly the King of Sui set his eyes on you, what do you plan? I laughed. How? I and you are alike, inherently despising hypocrites. But if truly generating such a messy matter, I also have to risk once trying to play the role of a chaste martyr. So I want to be a chaste martyr, but there are always people liking to pour dirt on me. The King of Sui visiting our country, just meeting Grand Tutor Fiona, you immediately became infatuated, loving her to emaciation, willing to offer 10 cities just to get the beauty back to his manor. That news spread everywhere, with head and tail, anyone hearing believed it. Actually thinking carefully would know immediately, it was the King of Sui's trick, wanting to use public opinion to pressure me. Initially I did not care, because Theo had guaranteed to handle it. But before long, the rumors became more and more distorted. Even at the street corners and alleys spread a poem mocking me. Early following the Xiao clan showing virtuous appearance. Willow shaped by the river sprouting pine buds. A branch of red rose entangles a jade bead. How to know pond fish turns into a fox. The poem was truly venomous but easy to understand. Saying I today follow the Xiao family, tomorrow change to the Zhou family. Double, faced like water. Rude in Lu but facing Sui. The line a branch of red rose. Both said I did not keep rules, and alluded to the red mole at the corner of the eye. Entangles a jade bead, pointed to glittering eyes. clearly pointing straight at me, and the last line, only lacking a thin layer of paper to say plainly, "Me, Fiona you, am exactly a fox seducing everywhere." Bad poetry but easy to remember. The populace likes to gossip, 3 people make a tiger. Before long I fear I could rival Dodgy and Bousy, destroying the country and harming the people. If Theo was not still too young, I fear my position as Grand Tutor would also be said to be gained by beauty. There are women truly toxic, when wanting to humiliate others sparing no means. That day I dressed neatly, intending to go out to meet the person in my heart. In the middle of the street was thrown rotten eggs by someone, hitting right on my dress shattering. That person ran fast, I could not catch up. Julian seeing that said nothing, nor complained of the smell, only patiently wiping clean then dragging me away. I asked where to go. He stopped looking at me, face unhappy. "Little fish, have you ever considered me as a person to share a pillow with sincerely?" "Why say that again? Am I a fool? Outside spreading chaotic news about you. You didn't tell me?" I replied. The mouth of the world is hard to block. Accumulated rumors can destroy even bones. He immediately got angry. "When did I say block the mouth of the world? Little fish, those sour words resemble whose writing style? Do you truly not know?" "No, rather. Why would I not know? I do not care, nor afraid of people laughing." "Not a matter of fear or not fear. I ask who has the right to laugh at you. Laugh at you for what reason? Not fitting rules, not keeping decorum, not knowing etiquette." His eyes grew colder, voice also deep. Words like that coming from Fiona Yu's mouth. "Little fish, I do not want to believe that I misjudged you. If walking with me makes you so wary, losing the arrogant unrestrained manner of the past, then I would rather have no status for a lifetime, only drinking with you like Xiaojia, ignoring the world." His words were very heavy. If I did not understand him, surely would have thought he regretted. "Julian," I asked, "then you say what I should do. The woman you love would do what?" He did not answer, only placing 2 hands on my shoulders, looking down. "Lady Yu to the state of Lu, you are an honest official. Grand Tutor Yu to the Emperor, you are a virtuous teacher. Fiona Yu to the 100 officials, you are a good friend. And to me you are unique, 1,000 gold hard to exchange, a lifetime hard to forget, are a pride." His eyes deep as the sea, strength from his hands transmitting to my shoulders, his voice soft but firm. "Little fish, when you lift your head, only then can I stand straight. Everything only gathers into one sentence you once said. Promise me not to suffer half a part of grievance." "I understand. Julian. You back me up, right?" He did not answer, only dragging me straight through the busy street, then suddenly running. We 2 ran straight to the main gate of the Xiao Manor. He raised his leg, kicking the door open. "Little fish, scold." He stood behind me, deep voice raising pitch. "Scold until satisfied." I turned to look, seeing his eyes firm, no hesitation. "Who fails you, scold. Who mocks you, scold. Who smears your reputation, scold." My heart beat fast, just as Harrison stepped out. "You," I mumbled, lips uttering words. "You are a person 1 foot stepping on East Bridge, 1 foot stepping on West Bridge, crotch straddling the Moat River, not afraid of wind blowing open pants, revealing 2 ounces of that thing for people to laugh at." Finished scolding, truly felt extremely refreshed. Harrison was stunned, saying, "Fiona, you are a woman, how can you speak like that?" Julian coldly interrupted. "Scold the original, listen carefully." Momentum opened. I was like a gushing spring of ideas, speaking more and more smoothly. 12 years I raised a dog, unexpectedly that dog abandoned meat and bones not eating, instead liked eating shit. You like that person all day with a morning face. Crying what? Did someone in your family die? Why do I care about anyone? She also has to jump in. I spat. She also wants to rub against twice. My family's manure cart passing by, she also has to run after to taste salty or bland. I was so loud if Helena did not hear it, it would be strange. She finally had to come out, but crying and saying she was wronged. Harrison stepped out to protect, saying that the King of Sui liking you inherently does not concern Helena. Do not vent anger on her. I grabbed an onlooker asking, "The poem spreading most recently, do you know it?" That person stammered shyly. I took off a jade earring. "Say it. I won't punish, will even reward you this item." He was mesmerized by the earring, immediately reciting clearly. I turned to Harrison. "You listen and see if this writing style is familiar." "Whose tone?" His face turned pale then white, turning back to look at his treasure. "Helena, why is it like this?" He shook his head slightly, saying, "Helena, it is indeed you writing, I hear it and know. This time I cannot cover up anymore." Helena was stunned, asking dully, "Big brother just said who likes her." Julian laughed coldly, slowly replying, "The King of Sui. The King of Su has eyes on little fish, wants to establish her as empress. King of Sui, empress. Is it not an envoy? Why is it the king? Big brother, why didn't you say it was the king? That is the king. She grabbed Harrison's sleeve, screaming. Big brother. The king of Sui looking at her is me, the one who should be empress is me. She turned to the middle of the crowd, regardless of who heard or not, screaming loudly. It is me, it is me. He wants to make me empress. Harrison's face darkened, shouting. Helena, are you crazy? Julian indifferently waved his fan. Drag me away, let's go. Little fish, on the way back I saw someone scattering paper in the crowd, probably flyers to cons people's hearts. I picked up a few sheets to check. Moon bright shines on the stream, silver light floods everywhere. Golden scales hidden in green water, reflecting fish shadow in the lake. Pearl and jade attached with agate. How can northern tangerine replace southern tangerine? Although shining under the same moonlight, but I am the vast long river, and you are only a narrow dark ditch. Although born in water, but I am a golden fish leaping, you are only a common fish in the pond. This vermilion mole is not a blooming red rose, but an agate dot amidst eyes like pearl and jade. Even if appearance has similarities, how can one take the sour spicy tangerine of the north to replace the sweet clear tangerine of the south? The papers I picked up all copied that poem, but the handwriting on each sheet was different. This sheet with strong strokes is Julian writing. That square standard sheet is Oliver Wu's. The crooked sheet is General Chen's. And the sheet stained with 2 grease spots is surely Thomas Song's. Julian said and did, indeed not letting me suffer half a part of grievance. His nature was inherently arrogant, I knew early on. That year when Theo was small ascending the throne, some in the court were not convinced, although daring not openly but words were circuitous, saying the young monarch was benevolent and wise, respecting teachers and valuing the way, specially granting regent power to the grand preceptor. Actually those words were just empty talk. At that time Theo was just a child smelling of milk. If Julian did not shoulder the court affairs, the state of Lu would have long been torn apart by neighboring countries. Speaking of which, that big hat of regent, anyone wearing it would tremble like standing on ice. But Julian was different, he was arrogant and straightforward. A long essay, he named and scolded straight those officials who only knew how to enjoy salary but did no work. Greedy flatterers, no different from rotten mud unable to plaster a wall. He said if among them there was even one useful person, there would be no need for a grand preceptor with no real power like him to take action to govern. The text was just announced, words sharp as swords, each word hitting straight in the face. Although Theo was small, his mind was sharp, so he raised his immature voice reading the whole piece right in the middle of the court. Finishing reading, he even widened his eyes asking me, Master, what kind of cake is waste dim sum? At that time 3 high officials no one could keep their face. One angry until sick. One retired to return to his hometown. The last one tried to argue back. Result was Julian with 3 sentences pressed him to speechlessness. Going home smashing all writing brushes and inkstones. Swearing from now on not to write anymore. Julian's literary brushwork was truly clean without flaw. Just like the line, by the pond washing brushes my family tree, flowers bloom faintly scent of light ink. No need for anyone to praise the fresh color, only wish the clear fragrance fills heaven and earth. He wrote prose and poetry always justly, not mixing private feelings. Only this time writing that poem, every word aimed at Helena, carrying a bit of private thought. I thought Helena only knew how to cry, who expected she was not simple. At that time Theo sat properly in the hall. If there was business then discuss, no business then dismiss court. Times of peace, the country prosperous people at peace, should have been no business. Yet there was someone daring to beat the drum crying injustice in front of the hall. Since childhood Theo never encountered such a thing. Although his face kept a calm look, his small legs under the dragon robe were swinging with interest. Who is beating the drum outside the hall? Reporting to your majesty, it is the sister of Lord Harrison. Miss Xiao, what injustice does she have? Theo tilted his head asking. Minister Xiao, your sister has injustice to report. Harrison's face looked ugly, having to bow his head reporting. Guilty subject, it is guilty subject spoiling her too much. Theo said again. We are not asking that. We ask where she is wronged. Harrison opened his mouth several times, finally only replying. Guilty subject is unclear. In this subject's view, there is truly nothing worth crying injustice. Theo rolled his eyes. You say no, people say yes. We as the monarch must hear both sides. Summon her in to question clearly. Helena had a weak body, arms thin as drumsticks, yet beat the drum loudly, even presenting a long petition, listing my crimes endlessly. First crime accusing that I and Julian, although not yet husband and wife, but acted like a couple, illicit affair, corrupting morals. Theo scratched his head. We are young, this matter we are unclear? Helena said. The matter is absolutely true, damaging etiquette. Theo asked back. Did you see with your own eyes? She shut her mouth. The little eunuch beside received a signal, immediately widened his eyes, shouting question. You there, were you lying under people's bed listening or cutting a window to see? Helena choked, then turned to me asking. Lady you, do you dare say there is no such thing? Julian intended to speak for me, I raised my hand to stop him. I inherently did not intend to argue with her. Anyway, scolding about the other day had satisfied my anger. But now she dared to come before the hall bringing humiliation on herself. Would I give face? Whether there is or not, what does it concern you? You are loved by your brother, not forced to bind feet so limbs are agile, also thanks to that able to reach into other people's beds to stir. Miss Xiao, not that I scold you, but truly you do not know your limit. If you were Lord Zhou's beloved concubine, coming to force question me would still have reason. But you and him have no relation, yet keep sticking tight like dog skin plaster, peeling off wouldn't it also peel off skin? You only need to answer yes or no. Are you truly crazy? I did not bother answering when I heard Thomas Song leisurely say. Reporting to your majesty, this subject is truly scared by her. Theo asked. Minister Song, what matter? This subject had a son the other day, haven't had time to report to Miss Xiao. Minister Li married a wife, also hasn't reported to her. Heard General Chen just redeemed a little maid. General Chen, have you told her yet? Not yet. Then we must be careful, lest tomorrow she goes to the hall beating drums suing for that crime. Thomas Song spoke while raising his eyebrows, tone naive but extremely sarcastic. Helena was angry, blushing. Lord, you speak unreasonably, shut up. Thomas Song covered his ears, jumping up. Wu likes listening to you speak. Here who does not have an official rank. Who are you to come teach? Calling you Miss Xiao is giving you much face. You should not bear the surname Xiao anymore. Change to the surname Bao, and call yourself Busybody Bao. Like hearing world affairs so much, why not go to the market to beat a gong? I scolded people, usually sparing no one. Julian liked sarcasm. But comparing no one equaled Thomas Song. Words slippery like reading a book, not raising voice, not changing tone, but the more listening the more angry. Being scolded by someone looking silly like that, wouldn't one tremble with anger? Helena was red with anger, still refused to stop. Good, very good. Your Majesty, this matter temporarily put aside, this common girl still has another petition. Harrison shouted a few times. Theo propped his chin, sighing. If it is still trivial matters in the kitchen, then forget speaking. Second crime, accusing Julian of writing poetry. Theo asked. Do you have a reputation? I know, we did not mean that. We mean why say destroying your reputation. Helena presented several sheets of paper. Your Majesty, look, this poem is toxic and harsh, making this common girl a laughing stock. Theo picked it up, holding it to the light to look carefully, then raised his head saying, Miss Xiao, say is it a coincidence? The sheet you presented here is exactly what we personally copied. The little eunuch beside added, the sheet behind was copied by this servant. Little Wu, your handwriting has improved much. Theo nodded. This poem has nothing smearing reputation. We cannot read it. This common girl never thought herself able to replace Lady Yu. Isn't that because you are not qualified? Oliver Wu coldly interrupted. At the banquet, you dared to interrupt me. I was already unhappy then. I and Lady Yu have been close friends for many years. Joking a few sentences, is it your turn to intervene? Discussing appearance, learning, temperament, how much are you inferior to her yet still compare? Wanting to sell fish eyes at the price of pearls, also have to see if anyone is willing to buy. Wild birds cannot grow peacock tails, could it be calling oneself not wanting to grow? Oliver Wu hated people interrupting him the most. Now having a chance, must vent satisfyingly. Helena bit her lip, eyes red. Brother likes me, King of Sui also likes me. General Chen smirked, laughing loudly. Ha! The literati speak in circles. Ultimately it is meeting two blind men. She imagines the whole world is blind. Theo laughed, haha. General summarizes very well. Indeed that meaning. General Chen laughed again. Since so, marry her to the King of Sui. 10 cities in exchange for her, can also cry down a few more cities, also considered establishing merit for the country. As for our Fianna, you keep her. My son lately is very obedient since being scared by her until peeing pants dare not go out teasing girls anymore. Correct, correct, those words truly fit our heart. Helena's face turned pale from anger. She said again. Even if high officials see no merit, this person is truly confused. I hold an empty title demanding I have what real achievement. Theo's face, which was smiling, suddenly turned cold, teenage eyes sweeping over, voice deep. We were taught by the master single-handedly. We are exactly the master's merit. He stood straight up. Although stature not yet tall, momentum was like a mountain. His gaze swept across the great hall. Minister, you has no merit. Miss Xiao, in your eyes, are we an incompetent foolish ruler? The ministers had not yet replied. Harrison had already knelt down, head touching the ground. Your Majesty, please spare Helena a life. His back trembled, choking voice. You can marry her to the state of Sui, only ask to keep her life. I still want to sue, brother, I still have to sue. Helena with messy hair shedding not a tear, only biting her lip saying loudly, why is no one willing to defend me? A crisp slap sounded. Harrison unexpectedly gave his sister a slap. Helena, I do not know if your nature is inherently like this or spoiled rotten by me. You, Theo called softly, voice heavy as lead. Coming here suing what? Truly ridiculous. Not mentioning beating the Dengwen drum is not for you to sue trivial matters like that. But here no one likes you, no one wants to hear you speak, nor anyone wants to see you go crazy. You looked down on the master hearing she was divorced, then feigned concern, actually humiliating. You looked down on the master, having a bit of literary talent, wanting to compare with her. You looked down on the master, thinking she only deserves to be a substitute, should not have someone loving her. He paused a moment, lifting the dragon robe, sitting properly. Like the person you despise, for the state of Lu, has poured out 12 years of heart's blood. Then he turned to the officials, voice echoing in the golden hall. Ministers, we are a person with fortune. Our age is still young but have sat on this throne for 10 years. In those 10 years it is not that we never made mistakes, nor never met wolves, but ultimately still sat firm. That is because you ministers are loyal and benevolent, not despising our youth, but firmly supporting. We are the king of you ministers are the beams of we. Having you ministers, the state of Lu is the best state of Lu. Finished speaking, his gaze swept across the officials, finally stopping at Harrison. Minister Xiao, you are also a beam of the country, a loyal subject of the state of Lu. Please stand up. I looked at him, majestic, calm. Words both soft and hard, enough to make people's hearts submit. Julian once asked me why I wanted to enter the court as an official. I think it is to see a child like that can become my wise ruler, the monarch of a country. After a bout of chaos, the screen between me and Julian was finally torn apart. Everyone congratulated him, saying after bitterness comes sweetness, as if he were Wang Bachuan waiting 18 years in a cold kiln, and I was the heartless Si Pingyi. It is not that I do not admit he suffered, but he himself did not consider it suffering. What did he say about bitterness ending and sweetness coming? Those 12 years were clearly sweet as honey, happy beyond measure. Thomas Song pouted. See, this is exactly Zhou Yu beating Huang Gai, one willing to hit, one willing to take the hit. Let us not interfere anymore. If they do not interfere, naturally someone else comes to stir up trouble. Before long, the king of Sui would leave the state of Lu. But the story between me and Julian had spread throughout the capital, leaving the king with little face. Theo once told him, Your Majesty, the person you have your eyes on is not Our Lady Yu but someone else. But the king of Sui was stubborn, asking back, Is it not that your Majesty cannot bear to marry off the grand tutor to me, so you invented a lie? Theo said nothing he would believe, so he had to arrange a meeting. May and Helena stood before him together, letting him identify exactly who it was. Recognize who? We stood together. His finger trembled, pointing at me then at her, like a dragonfly lost in the summer sun. Finally he turned to look at Theo, lamenting. Why does the world have two people so alike? Theo smiled. Is it not one glance topples the city? Two glances topple the country. Didn't you say meeting once, never forgetting for a lifetime? The king of Su heard this and also laughed. That day he only saw that vermilion mole as a spiritual touch, not expecting two people to look identical even in that spot. Indeed today Helena dotted that mole red again, this time not for Julian. The king of Sui looked at me then looked at her saying, Truly hard to distinguish, but this mole is indeed beautiful. Helena curtsied, stating her name, even verifying the place and time of that night with him. The king of Sui nodded, turning to me. Does Lady Yu have any words? I looked up saying softly. Is it possible that in me, only this mole is worth looking at? He was stunned. What? I asked. Is it that in me only this mole is beautiful? The king of Sui was slightly startled, then replied. Bright eyes and white teeth, all are beautiful. I waved my hand. Stop, you are truly uninteresting. He laughed even brighter. What does that mean? Long-winded. You just like this face, I said. Since so, I will speak frankly. If you like this appearance, just take her away. She is willing to follow, I am not. I will not go with you. Why do not want to? Because in my heart there is already someone else. Not love at first sight, but a person I have determined not to change. The king of Sui asked again. Is being his wife better than being the female ruler of the state of Sui? I smiled. Previously I taught the little princesses the story of the Mulberry Road. There was a passage saying the prefect asked Lufu. I would rather share wealth, but Luofu came forward. The prefect has a wife, Lufu has a husband. In the east are 1,000 horsemen. The husband sits at the head. The king of Sui raised his eyebrows, smiling. I continued. At that time the princesses asked me, does Lufu's husband truly have a higher status than the prefect? I told them they were still young, not understanding the principle. Whether Lufu has a husband or not, whether that husband is noble or not, is inherently not important. The important thing is the prefect should not bring humiliation upon himself, becoming a laughing stock for the world. The king of Sui laughed loudly. If I still persist, wouldn't I become a person stealing a wife, forcing love? Theo had a benevolent heart, pushing the boat with the current, saying, King of Sui, the person you saw that day was indeed Miss Xiao. We also agreed to the marriage alliance. The king of Sui shook his head. It was me being shallow, standing in front yet not recognizing who is who. How can it be called love at first sight? It seems the person destined for me is not here. That is good. I do not want to marry anyone. Helena gently said. State of Lu, state of Sui have long friendship. This humble girl is willing to contribute a bit of meager effort. The king of Sui looked at her. You want to go with this king? Never knew each other before. What do you like about this king? She lowered her eyes, voice soft. Marriage is a major matter, decided by parents' orders and matchmakers' words. The king of Sui frowned. Just relying on that one sentence, you also cannot be the empress of the state of Sui. She wanted to speak more, but I intervened. The king of Sui traveled a long way here. This small official treated you simply. In a few days, we'll certainly offer a farewell cup. The king of Sui understood, knowing where to stop. Lady Yu, between me and you there is a grudge, but why hinder my future? Your future. I raised an eyebrow. Do you really think just one look, and he will hand over the empress throne of Sui to you? She bit her lip, whispering. Hearing you speak like that, are you looking down on me? I inherently do not put you in my eyes. What is there to look down on or value? I sighed softly. Helena, do you really intend to live your whole life just by that red mole? Later, hearing people praise that vermilion mole as beautiful, won't your heart feel a sting? She was silent. Moreover, if you marry to the state of Sui, what about your brother? He only has you as family. You are no different from taking a knife to cut his heart. If you truly love the king of Sui, then it would be acceptable. Otherwise, I truly do not find it worth it for Harrison. Big brother can follow me to the state of Sui to take care of me. He loves me the most. Helena, Harrison studied hard for 12 years. Now just enjoying official fame. Do you have the heart to make him waste half a life? Being a human must have a conscience. Harrison wronged me, but never wronged you. Do not force him anymore. I looked at her, voice softening. I used to be a substitute, understanding clearly how unpleasant that taste is. You are happy seeing others suffer that pain, but can you yourself bear it? Speaking frankly, I do not want to see you step into my old tracks. I do not want women in the world to waste their youth, only for others to look at and remember a deceased person. I had said so much, not knowing how many sentences she heard, how many words entered her head. Fine, it concerns me no more. Leaving the door, I glanced once and met Julian's eyes looking straight at me, his face without a ripple. You do not ask me who the king of Sui ultimately chose. I tried to walk calmly, but unexpectedly still skipped like a child. He replied blandly. Definitely not you. Why not me? I asked. He glanced at me, voice indifferent. You returning, isn't it bringing disaster to the country and harming the people? I was not angry, only smiling and stepping closer. I only caused disaster for you alone. He clicked his tongue softly, voice annoying, sounding as if you want to sacrifice yourself for righteousness. I did not mind, eyes shining brightly looking at him. Really not worried, not afraid. He shook his head. My finger secretly slipped into the gap of his fingers, holding tight. Then why is your hand sweating so much? As soon as the king of Sui left, a big incident happened. I heard people tell that Helena was mocked by Julian's poetry, then scolded by me, losing all face before the court officials. Even the king of Sui, who once noticed her, changed his mind midway. She said she had no face left to live, hanging herself to commit suicide. Luckily saved, but her spirit was heavily damaged. Julian advised me not to bother. It was she who started it, mocking you so many times, why be soft-hearted for her? Moreover, her causing this might not be because of you, no need to blame yourself. I replied, the reason is like that, but after all it is a human life. She is truly hateful, but not to the point of seeking death. He could not out-argue me, only saying if you find visiting once makes you at ease then go. But with the Xiao family's temper, fear they won't give you a good face. I was afraid he would be suspicious, so hurriedly held his hand, laughing. I know you love me most, just this once. Whether they are grateful or not, later I will close the door, living peacefully with you. Since that night, wearing wedding clothes, leaving the Xiao family in the dark, every time I returned was not happy. Either coming to scold people, or coming to collect debt, in short all coming to cause trouble. I did not sit in a sedan chair, nor ride a horse, just standing in front of the Xiao manor asking the gloomy servant boy, "How is your young mistress?" He lowered his head, voice sad, not hiding anything from the master. "Very noisy, terribly noisy." "Noisy what?" Saying lost face, cannot stay in the state of Lu anymore. I only found it strange, but thinking back she was inherently not normal. Not just for a day or two, why bother caring? Waiting forever. Harrison finally stepped out. I remembered him usually always elegant, people meeting him felt respect, but now he was miserably haggard, beard unshaven, expression collapsed. Before I could open my mouth, he spoke first. "Fiona, I have words to speak with you." I was prepared mentally. Now his only sister met misfortune. Him not going crazy was already trying hard. Even if coming to blame, I could endure it once. But having called me, he fell silent for a long time, his sunken dry eyes blinking once, then said hoarsely, "Helena owes you an apology." Waiting for her to recover, "I will tell her to come say it to you herself." Pausing a moment, he stepped forward. "And me, this sentence I must say first. Fiona, sorry. I know compared to your 12 years, these words are light, not enough to compensate, but I also do not know what else to do." His beard grew stubbly, cheeks hollow, lips dry and cracked, clothes wrinkled, no longer having the demeanor of the past. I was slightly stunned, only could accept part of the blame. "Harrison," I spoke harshly, "Helena is thin-skinned, I cannot escape this guilt." He shook his head, sighing long. "No, Fiona, the fault is mine. The great mistake is mine." He looked up, disregarding dignity sitting flat on the doorstep. "It is I who harmed Helena," I hurriedly said. "Do not say that, you treated her very well. I know it all." He laughed bitterly. "Precisely because I was too good to her, too indulgent, without limits, that made her spoiled." "Harrison, Fiona, do not blame yourself. This matter does not concern half a part of you." He interrupted, continuing. "Helena told me to resign and leave the state of Lu with her. She said the state of Lu is a place of heartbreak, cannot live staying here. I did not agree, so she thought of that foolish trick to force me. Fiona, although I studied for 12 years, not for glory and wealth, only hoping to repay the country, how can I bear to quit?" I nodded. "She said that, truly confused." He laughed self-mockingly. "She said, I do not love her, keep crying all the time." I said, "All this life I have been for you, now only want to calculate for myself once." He looked up, face haggard, voice trembling slightly. "Then do you know what she said?" I did not answer nor could guess. "She said too late." He covered his face tiredly, rubbing. "Said that having complied with her 1,000 times 10,000 times, why regret one last time?" I was silent. Turns out Helena's selfishness and stubbornness exceeded my imagination. I asked, "Now what do you plan?" He replied softly, "Bitter wine brewed by me, can only drink it all myself, what other way? With that temper of hers, following anyone is a disaster." I hesitated. "Do you truly want to leave the state of Lu with her?" He was silent for a long time, then said, "Body of earth does not leave hometown, human heart hard to leave nest. If only telling me to resign and return to the village, I could be swayed, but forcing me to leave the state of Lu completely, I cannot." I sighed. "But she will still make trouble for me." "Do not worry anymore. Fiona, now you have someone else, the future is bright, do not get involved in my mess." He thought for a moment, pulling a jade pendant from his chest. I recognized it immediately as the family heirloom of the Xiao family, an item for the eldest daughter-in-law. He held the jade in his hand for a while, then hung it on the tree in front of the gate. Fiona, I have no fortune, having things inherently not belonging to me. The jade piece was translucent, under the sunlight sparkling brilliantly. I once craved to wear it on my body, now right in front of my eyes I did not want to reach for it. Not so, Harrison, it is I who have no fortune. You are very good. Saying that, I turned around, not looking back, leaving the Xiao Manor, leaving my 12 years of youth. I fear Helena never thought there would be this day. Even if she made trouble to the extreme, it was useless. Heard that after being saved, she still cried loudly, no different from a funeral. Harrison initially still coaxed, she became even more excessive, tearing the memorial he was about to present, even cutting his court dress. He asked her, Helena, if leaving the state of Lu, you won't make noise anymore, right? She replied, yes, just need brother to take me away from this heartbreaking place, I will be peaceful. He nodded, turning into the house, packing a bundle of luggage, placing in front of her. Fine, then go. She was bewildered. What are you saying? Didn't I say wanting to leave the state of Lu? The state of Lu is your place of heartbreak, not mine. I will not go. She burst into tears. Brother does not love me anymore, he said. I even know I am confused. Why do you not know you are crazy? How it happened later I was unclear, only heard she no longer sought death, nor left the state of Lu. About a month later, she married a scholar from a literary family whose parents had passed away. That marriage was arranged single-handedly by Harrison. It seems he truly waved goodbye to the 12 years of the past. Not only me. Comparing to him, my luck was indeed much better. Julian wished he could cling to me all day, laughing and saying, now the world knows, no one laughs at me anymore. Do you still refuse to marry me? Marry, naturally have to marry, just that I am not in a hurry. Do not understand why you are so anxious. Recently Thomas Song's second child was 1 month old. Everyone came to congratulate. Theo originally intended to ask someone to bring gifts over, hearing I brought Layla Wei along, also came personally. That day a truly ridiculous thing happened again. The son of General Chen's manor also came. Beside him was a woman with city, toppling beauty. She was hands on hips, standing right in front of the door scolding, while that tall Charlie Chen lowered his body, obediently listening to the admonition. Waiting for her to finish scolding, asking, heard clearly yet? Heard clearly? Heard clearly? Charlie Chen just turned his head, seeing us, face slightly awkward, hurriedly saying, Lord Zhou Lady Yu. I only nodded, saying nothing. Julian glanced at him, asking politely, who is the young master? Forgive my clumsy eyes, never met before. This sentence was intentionally opening a way. Considered not holding a grudge for the old matter to keep face for people. Unexpectedly that Charlie Chen was honest to the point of being funny, widening his eyes saying, you do not remember me. At the Jade Pavilion, you two beat me once. The corner of Julian's mouth twitched slightly, but ultimately did not laugh, only calmly replying, forgot. Charlie Chen asked me again, Lady Yu, did you also forget? He is old, memory not good, I remember clearly. The young master laughed saying, I even have to thank that beating that day. If not for that beating, I would not have met Gigi. Saying that, he pulled the girl beside him out to introduce. This is Gigi. She is exactly the person I redeemed from the Yi Hong Pavilion that day. The girl's face blushed slightly, perhaps not wanting to be reminded of her origin in front of the crowd. Ice Gigi is truly beautiful, marrying you as a concubine seems a waste. Charlie Chen shook his head repeatedly. No, Gigi later will be my main wife. Gigi hurriedly interrupted. Two lords, do not listen to him talk nonsense, I am only a concubine. I do not agree. If you are a concubine, I would rather not take a wife. Charlie Chen bluntly said. You people do not know, Gigi has a kind heart. That day I was beaten miserably, people laughed, only she led me upstairs to wash clean, even finding clothes for me to change. While he was talking non-stop. The lords also arrived, let us not stand outside forever, step inside together. Walking not yet a few steps, heard Miss Gigi scolding him again. Why are you like that, huh? Didn't I tell you? Do not mention my origin. What to be afraid of? Gigi, do not keep it in your heart, they are all good people, compared to them I am the one worthless. He thought for a moment, adding. But Gigi, rest assured, from now on I will definitely change, determined not to let you suffer grievance anymore. Gigi sighed. This fool, I am not afraid they laugh at me. I am afraid they laugh at you. Charlie Chen was stunned, asking. Strange, why not laugh at you but laugh at me? Stupid, the brothel is what kind of place don't you know? Men entering and leaving brothels no one laughs at, why laugh at women there? Who wants to live relying on that? Just helplessness, what is there to laugh at? Jiggy, whether I am laughable or not I do not know, only know whoever shares a blanket with someone they do not love, that person is worth laughing at. That sentence made all of us stunned. Gigi truly controlled him to obedience. How obedient. That day Layla Way just meeting him immediately pulled Theo over to whisper. It is the guy that you're bullying this concubine? The tunes you dislike were all taught by him. Theo heard, eyebrows raised, asking, did he disrespect you? Layla Way replied, not really, but this concubine is still angry inside. If angry then call him out to question clearly. But just opening the mouth, General Chen was already scared out of his wits, looking like he was about to kneel to apologize. Unexpectedly, midway before getting scolded, Jiggy rushed over, grabbing his ear shouting. Is there such thing, yes or no? Ouch. Jiddy spare me, I know my fault, dare not anymore, I am a scoundrel. Saying that she released her hand, dusting off, turning to ask. Who is Layla Way? Are you Layla Way? She stood hands on hips looking carefully once then turned back to smack hard on Charlie Chen's head. God-struck thing, this is a little girl, are you still human? Jeggy, I did nothing, I only listened to her sing. Still dare to speak, I ask you did you want to do anything else? Saying that, she launched a kick beating and scolding. All of us were stunned, only General Chen calmly turned to say, do not be afraid, eat. Beaten to what extent? Beaten until Layla Way had to intervene, the emperor also had to advise. He is stupid, but not to the point of deserving death, fine respecting feelings spare him. Finally it was Thomas Song's second son just 3 months old ending the matter. Charlie Chen being beaten cried ouch once, the little master sitting dazed suddenly also shouted along ouch, loudly. We were all scared pale, thinking a 3-month-old child already learned the phrase Gigi spare life, hurriedly holding her back, not letting her beat anymore. That day Gigi indeed washed away all grievance for Layla Way, but she did not show happiness. Theo too, coming smiling but leaving sad, Layla Way said to him, you giving me choice is sincere or just pretending to be generous? Theo replied, we say one is one, how to speak in jest. Fine, she said. This concubine does not want to enter the palace, hope you do not ask the reason. Theo lowered his head for a long time then slowly replied. Good, we do not ask. We understand why, he said. Layla Way, we promise you, we will be a tolerant monarch like the late emperor, benevolent like the Empress Dowager, and even more carrying burdens than them. Layla Way indeed would not enter the palace. Julian and I knew early on, that little girl is like wild grass, even walls 10,000 feet high cannot keep her. Layla Way once asked me, Master, if I enter the palace, how will His Majesty treat me? He will love you. Then if I do not enter the palace will he resent me? No. I replied. He will still love you. The next day, I told that story to Julian. At that time the little maid named Nina was beside. She stopped the work in hand, saying, Master, let this servant say a word. In the world truly is there someone abandoning the Empress position, willing to be a servant? Julian said. People have their own will, only seeking to be happy, that principle cannot be debated. Nina said again. The emperor is not necessarily not a good person, if truly loving each other, being his woman isn't it also happy? Julian just smiled not answering. Nina stuck out her tongue saying to me, Lady you look at my master putting on the high expert act again. I laughed softly. Nina, happiness borrowed from others is inherently not durable, cloud color easy to fade, glass easy to break. Not sure if she understood or not, only knew when I went out I heard her telling the gardener in the manner. Later you do not pick a separate branch for me anymore. I do not like it. The gardener hurriedly asked. Why not like? Nina hands on hips shook her head. Precious things in the world are not trustworthy. Flowers, grass, trees are all like that, rain once then all gone, turning into fertilizer for big trees. He was stunned then smiled foolishly. Then next time I bring some fruits for you. That thing not afraid of rain, not afraid of wind. Nina hearing that, nodded thinking it right, but thought again then said. Fruit eaten then also lost, still not kept. He rolled his eyes, also hands on hips replying. Small fruit swallowed into stomach, not necessarily lost. Tomorrow pooping out, isn't it fertilizing the tree again? Nina laughed haha. Laughing finished then leaned over nudging the gardener. Poetry written by the master I listen never understand. The sentences you say are much easier to understand, also not inferior. The gardener replied. Heard by the master, you surely will be scolded about. Nina huffed, winking teasingly. He is very busy, no time to scold. Lady you just arrived guess see what he is busy with. I turned to look at Julian's face, seeing him slightly clenching his hand into a fist then lightly coughing calling. Nina, this crazy girl. Nina was stunned, glancing this way, only then seeing me and him, but also not afraid, hurriedly dragging her partner, running. Stupid, still standing there dazed, doing what? Run fast. Me and him naturally did not chase, just letting them go. Meeting, parting, holding on, or letting go, we each have our own way of happiness. Let's go. Julian reached out his hand. Support me. I laughed, teasing. Going where? Dirty again. He burst out laughing, laughter mixed with a bit of blame yet like a soft sigh. Little fish, you are also a crazy girl. I rested my chin on my hand, blinking at him. Big brother, no one has called little fish a girl yet. He looked at me, in eyes both smiling and sad. Do not learn from her, I am afraid. I laughed, joking a few sentences with him. He saw me off to the door. Before leaving, I instructed waiting to send off the Sui envoy. You should prepare. He was stunned. Prepare what? I looked around, seeing no one, so stood on tiptoe, whispering in his ear. I thought about it, still want to be with you openly and legitimately, busy together for a long time. Saying that, I did not look at his face, ran away, until about to get on the carriage, turned back. He still stood there smiling, fan in hand, gently rotating, seeing me turn back, then waved his hand, afterwards crossing his arms, standing. I know he is also willing to be with me like that, long-term, peaceful, happy without relying on anyone else. On the day the king of Su departed, Emperor Theo granted a banquet at the palace. Good wine, singing and dancing, a joyful scene. Drinking happily, the king of Sui wanted to discuss marriage with Theo, wanting him to marry a daughter of state of Lu to his son, connecting the two countries. Unexpectedly, the little prince of Sui was a fool. Meeting the four princesses, saying a few sentences provoked them all to cry in turn. At first he called Vanessa as Valerie, then called Valerie as Victoria. The princesses tried to hold back anger, afterwards faces red. He still could not remember who was who. The first to cry was Valerie, bowing head, saying nothing, tears just falling drop by drop. The little prince clumsily comforted. Princess Victoria, do not cry, I just have poor eyes, mistook the person. Words just finished, Valerie cried loudly, making the dancer on stage startle and fall over. Even the wine cup in King of Sui's hand dropped. Then, like a chain, four princesses cried loudly, like singing a chorus. Theo sat dazed, not knowing how to coax, nor bearing to scold, still having to turn to coax the King of Sui. No problem, no problem. Little sisters are young and easy to cry. The little prince was just 13, never met this scene before, only having one sister who understood things early, never crying once all year. He blushed red. Cannot blame me entirely, first meeting, how to remember who is who. Julian laughed softly, covering half his face with his sleeve, whispering to me. Indeed, father like son. I nudged him, signaling stop talking, but he still calmly added, nothing, I hope he leaves sooner rather than later. Putting down the cup, he spoke slowly. Not crying, then hard to distinguish, crying, then strange shapes, each person a separate ugliness. The whole table fell silent. One sentence of his was more effective than anything. He pretended to be surprised. Oh my, Julian's movement was too big, rude. Why aren't the princesses crying anymore? Four princesses froze, trying to suppress tears. He became even more smug, putting down chopsticks, pointing at each person, counting. Princess Vanessa, she cries loudest, voice booming, face red like a steamed bun. Princess Victoria, although smaller voice, but face crumpled, 5 features all leaving place. Princess Vivian, tears many, nose also many. Among 4 people she definitely is champion. And Princess Valerie. Master, please do not speak anymore. Valerie was quick-witted, seeing it not good, hurriedly stopped. Vanessa was also urgent. Master, do not speak anymore. We not crying is okay, right? At this moment Julian turned to the little prince. Now can your highness distinguish yet? The little prince clumsily nodded. No, not mixed anymore. The king of Sui laughed, asking, Lord Zhou, your words just now seem to have other meaning. Julian was still calm, looking at the face. Then this subordinate also finds it hard to distinguish, but living long having feelings, naturally familiar. The king of Sui did not ask more. Smart like that, no need to speak clearly to understand. After that I did not ask more, only knew next year on the birthday of 4 princesses, everyone boasted receiving gifts from the little prince, each item different, with names written for each, even choosing right preferences. Theo, 16 years old, a head taller than me, voice breaking, speaking amusingly like a duckling, spoke much less, looking more mature. Layla Wei entered the palace not to be a concubine but as a schoolmate of the 4 princesses. Initially some criticized, but the princesses cherished her. Theo also occasionally visited. Gradually everyone found it pleasing. Heard a young musician liked her. Theo said would test that person. Thomas Song and old General Chen recently fought again, just because arguing whose child had bigger eyes. And Oliver Wu suffered, hating people talking much the most, but his wife raised a talking parrot, teasing him until his nose crooked every day. As for Harrison, I paid little attention, meeting at court only greeting a few sentences. Recently heard the north had floods, he asked to go for relief, worked very fast, returning in a month, even bringing back a girl with skin white as jade, flawless. His sister married that person, living also temporarily fine. Julian mocked again. That pair is like vinegar mixed with hawthorn, sour but matching. These stories I heard others retell, because I was very busy. Theo wanted to establish a school for women, entrusting everything to me. I worried about compiling books teaching characters, often forgetting to eat. Julian did not make it difficult, every big and small matter in the wedding ceremony handled by himself. Choosing dishes, choosing fabric, even invitation cards he wrote every single sheet. Oliver Wu teased Julian. In your house who rules inside, who rules outside? He replied naturally. Little fish walking to today. I feel like personally experiencing together, never divided inside outside. Moreover, her ambition isn't it also my ambition? At that time I just finished writing a line. Looking out the window, he held the jade, boned fan, gold beads tasseling down, gently swaying in the wind. I suddenly remembered the first time meeting him. Clearly knowing I was female, yet said, "Sir, the mole there is truly beautiful." I asked, "Is it possible only this mole is beautiful?" He opened the fan laughing faintly. False beauty makes people fascinated, true beauty even more so. At that time everyone was surprised, thinking he liked men. He arrogantly asked, "Skin smooth like this, no one sees it is a woman." In a flash 12 years passed. One day I asked him why he liked me. He just smiled, not answering. I asked forever. He finally said, "The day you entered the court, first time drinking with me at Jade Pavilion, you even scolded me." "Remember?" I replied. "Remember." At that time I said the sentence false beauty makes people fascinated, true beauty even more so was describing a fox spirit. You are truly shameless. He laughed. At that time you drank poorly, not equal to now, finished scolding then collapsed drunk. I coaxed you, you pulled my collar, calling me Harrison, saying my eyes were blind. I was the fox spirit. I blushed. No such thing, I do not remember. He leisurely smiled. There is. You even said if not because I had that mole, he wouldn't bother paying attention. Asking me, is it possible I only have this mole that is beautiful? I was speechless. He hugged me, voice soft. At that time I replied, false beauty makes people fascinated, true beauty even more so. The latter sentence means the fake, the real both make people drunk, only the true heart is most precious. And your true heart is what I like most. I laughed saying, master is learned, replying truly skillfully. He also laughed. At that time you also said so, saying I replied skillfully, only pity others did not understand. I shyly whispered. Then I kissed you. He did not answer, only laughing, rubbing my head. I also did not ask any more. Anyway, days and months are still long. Some stories just let my husband tell slowly. Some stories let me and him write together for very long, very long. The story ends here for now. If it touched your heart or left you thinking, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Please like, subscribe, and share Raccoon Tale to help more stories come to life. See you in the next tale.